Music. Everybody who's a Star Wars fan is well aware that Star Wars has a particular set of music. A good chunk of it I won't be using. Why? Because it's meant to be epic, and you guys aren't not epic, but you're not epic. Also, the problem with a lot of Star Wars music is that it comes in suites, where you will get different tempos and different volume levels, and in some cases different moods within the same piece. I can't do anything with that. So, you know, I'm not saying you'll never hear a piece of Star Wars music. I'm saying that this is not going to be very much of what you hear. Another thing, some of you have gamed with me long enough to know this rule and some don't. This is Wallace the Wookiee. Now, Wallace the Wookiee, open your fucking eyes. You got one job, Wallace. Come on, man. Wallace the Wookiee does make noise. Okay? But that's not his primary job. When Wallace the Wookiee is taken from his home, hey, shed on me. Wallace the Wookiee is taken from his home, and he's tapped 3 times on the table, and it is announced that Wallace the Wookiee is on the table. Nobody but me says anything until Wallace is removed. That is a hard rule, and I'm hard at it. Okay? So that's just because I've found in the past that sometimes really intelligent people have trouble containing themselves, but it works really well when you put a thing on the table and say, as long as I have the talking Wookiee, well, you know. You two were in the campaign where I started this because other people couldn't shut them up. And it was either that or kill him! So, that's what. Open your eyes, Wallace. Oh, never mind. Go back to sleep, Wallace.
But I ramble, and it's nice to have, like, hey, shut the fuck up.
I would have used Trooper Bob, but I can't find Trooper Bob. That's why I asked you for the pop vinyl dolly, you see? Yes. But at some point I may send you hunting in Walmart for a pop vinyl dolly or something, or a bobblehead or something, and I could sort of go. Because Wallace, this isn't really what Wallace does. I mean, Wallace is a pretty lazy Wookiee. He's a thinking Wookiee. He spends a lot of time thinking. And right now he's thinking, don't put me back in that bag. Alright, so...
That's the one.
Sheet for the actual ship. Anyone going to object if I hold it?
I was one objective was right now you got
You're the one using it most often, so
you will notice that your character sheets come in protective sleeves. This is because some people like to doodle on their character sheets. I don't have a problem with that. Actually, yes I do. It drives me up the wall. So I have come up with a solution. Which will only be a solution for 5 of you, apparently. Okay. Who here is not likely to doodle in their character sheet?
if I don't have something in my hand, I'll be fine.
Pass it down. 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 The only marks you make on your character sheet permanent-like are things that are permanently to be marked on your character sheet, like increases in this or that are meant to be permanent. Everything else...
Unless you physically cannot have it in front of you, I'm fine.
Everything else, doodle your little hearts out all over the sheet. Color it black if that's what you want to do. Because now I don't care and I don't get all twitchy. Alright, so does anybody not understand anything? Anybody got any questions, concerns? Want a mint? Okay. Good. Let's get started. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Star Wars Tales of the Ruby Queen. You've been recruited from diverse corners of the galaxy and brought aboard to do a little something something. The Empire can't have it all, and And if they did, they do terrible things with it. So, you're going to take it from them, either from the ground, from the people who have it, from the very hands of the Empire itself, or really any other way you can get it. Now, your job isn't to take it and sell it on the open market and make money yourselves, you fucking miscreants. Your job is to send it to people who will hold it for safekeeping until the galaxy gets over this whole Empire thing. And then they will be repatriated. That's the pledge. Nobody sells an artifact, nobody steals an artifact, nobody hurts an artifact unless the artifact is designed to hurt other people. But for now, it is snatch. Now, it's been a couple of days traveling through hyperspace. You know that you're going to Tatooine because Keffin, who tells you all to call him Keffin. It's a rather informal environment. You've been on a couple of jobs before, relatively easy ones. In most cases, it's just, oh look, we've discovered that this artifact is being sold by this person. We will go use money that comes from an account specifically for the purchase of artifacts. Buy it, take it away. It's worked. It's been very quiet. Nobody's started any problems about anything. There's been no hassles or anything. And you've come to sort of know a few things. The internal layout of the ship, which seems to have been a troop ship in a former life. Well, it was a diplomatic vessel, and then it was a troop ship, and then it became a diplomatic vessel again, and then it got sold to corporate interests, and now you guys had it. So it kind of has pieces of both legacies. But mostly it has a lot of places to go and sleep with fresh bedding. And it's anybody who wants to get a closer look at the deck plans of the Ruby Queen, it's on the Obsidian Portal. The Obsidian Portal is seen to mechanically by two very interesting creatures. The first is Sassoon, who is a hut that's been cybered up like crazy, because otherwise it's unlikely his own body would be able to do anything, because he suffered from the dreaded disease known by absolutely no name whatsoever, and was cast out of hut society. But he's covered in Waldo's armatures, drills, pulleys, pokies, affixers, defixers, scanners, pullers, folders, spindlers, and mutilators. He's a walking tool shed, and he knows everything about the ship. He's a cordial enough fellow, and unlike many huts, he doesn't stink. He is accompanied, if accompanied is the right word, by Doki. Doki is a Jawa. Doki is also a lunatic, and Doki's pretty good with machinery, and he's pretty good with computer equipment, and he's as biddable as a shepherd's dog most of the time. But there's something not quite right with that Jawa. For one thing, he likes to dance. And while he knows never to go inside anyone's personal quarters, he will periodically present himself within a meter of you and dance. He's not dancing with you, and it's not like he's dancing at you. He's just sort of dancing around you, and then he's gone. Probably the closest he's ever gotten to any of you is by the same token makes you wonder if you should actually get a co-pilot, because there's that chair, and then every now and then Doki will come into... By the way, Doki knows where the master intercom is. Doki feeds his music into the master intercom, and then Doki can dance anywhere on the ship. And so your first treat to what Doki does is that he sort of showed up mumbling, squibbling to himself like Jawas sometimes do. So looks over at you, looks at the control panel, pushes the 1MC, and connects it by a hujib to something else, and then there's music, and then he's on the co-pilot's chair, not sitting, standing on the co-pilot's chair, dancing his little tush off, just dancing like a mad person. And he doesn't touch he doesn't try to involve you, he doesn't touch any of your controls, he doesn't, he's not like, come dance with me, and he's not like the Butabi brothers on a Saturday Night Live where he's bouncing his can against you or anything. But that boy's a dancing fool. The other denizen, well, the other somewhat strange denizen of the ship is Gonk. Gonk is a sorry soul, hard done by. The galaxy's been hard. Times is hard. It's all hard. He's got no hope, this Gonk. First of all, he's sorry he was made as a power droid. This is evident simply by watching. You could get depressed looking at this power droid because the power droid shuffles. He doesn't walk. You've seen power droids that sort of walk around like, I got 2 legs, but I don't mind. La la la. Do you need power? Gonk is world weary. He's got the ennui, does Gonk. And so he shuffles around. And the thing is, he does what's come to be known as the Tour de Gonk, where he goes up one side of the corridor of every. Again, he doesn't go in anybody's personal spaces. He doesn't go in anybody's quarters. He doesn't open lockers. Well, he can't. He's got feet. But he does the tour. He goes all up one side of the corridors, anywhere that's considered to be commonly accessible. He goes up and then he goes back. And he gets in the turbo lift and goes down a level. And he goes up and he goes back. And this is because now Gonk is considered to be Doki's taxi when he's tired or when he needs to carry something, but he doesn't. He just sometimes you'll see Doki flaked out on Gonk. He'll lie. It's like Snoopy lying on his doghouse. But the thing is that the top of Gonk isn't big enough for all of Doki, so his arms will hang down one side and his legs will hang down the other, and he'll lie there, and the two of them will lie there sighing together, wandering slowly up and down the ship when they're tired, which is very rare for Doki. Doki seems to be of endless, boundless energy. And Gonk doesn't want to know from any of you people. As far as he's concerned, he doesn't know what you're doing. He doesn't know what you want. He doesn't, And the thing is, Gonk has funny ideas as to what he's supposed to be doing, which is generally nothing but walking. Because he's a power droid. He has no appendages. He can't... He's a walking power generator. That's what the Gonk series droids are. They're power generators with feet. He has no manipulator arms. He has no plugs. He has no Waldos. He has no sensors. He has no nothing. He's barely conscious of his surroundings. But he's got a purpose. He's going there. And that's that. And if you're in the way, he doesn't make a fuss. He just stops and gonks at you a couple of times and waits for you to move your fat ass out of his way. And then off he goes again. That's Gonk. Now, the last member of your team is Tissa Gitano, who's your doctor. She's not a happy woman. She never takes off her Mandalorian armor. Never. The helmet she'll take off as long as she doesn't have to leave the ship. If she leaves the ship, the helmet goes on, the helmet stays on. Otherwise, the armor does not come off. Not in front of anybody, anyway. She might take it off when she's in her quarters with the door locked, but otherwise, that's it. She wears it all the time, every time. Which is very interesting that she wears Mandalorian armor because she's a pacifist. She was born a Mandalorian. She was born on Concord Dawn, which is a sort of a former Mandalorian agricultural colony that was forcibly severed from the Mandalorians, but still maintains a great population of racial and cultural Mandalorians. But she won't carry a blaster. She won't even stick people with drugs to put them to sleep. She has a baton. She won't even do hand to hand. She has a baton, and she's not bad with that baton, but she won't shoot or seriously hurt anybody. And she's refused, and most of the time her conversations consist of, what do you want? Are you sick? Go away. What do you want? Are you sick? Go away. I don't know if you ever approached her and tried to speak Mando to her. She blinked at you and waited for you to stop talking. That was how it worked. And then she turned around and walked away. Her accent is very northern Concord Dawn, like very earth eater, fucking, you've been digging tubers, your whole family's been digging tubers since the Mandalorians enslaved your shit, didn't they? Yeah, so, very, very northern accent, and she's as warm as the northern ones. And, oh boy, oh boy. You'll never overheat. Now, she doesn't have a medical bay per se. That's kind of being worked out. She's moving around from part to part of the ship, inspecting different spaces and trying to figure out what will work best. Currently, the extent of the medical equipment aboard the ship is what is out of the 2 great big duffels that she bought. Half of the stuff in there is stolen. There's a story, and when Kevin Marrow asked, he was told to engage in practices that are clearly physically impossible, with a number of words not found in Galactic Holy Book. So, it's morning. The ship has no cook. You guys really have been thrown together. There's been a lot about how you guys are going to operate together that has not been fleshed out. Clearly, there's your so-called captain, which he's not. He's the team leader, and he asserts himself in that regard. But as far as he's concerned, you're the captain of the ship, and as far as he's concerned, the Wookiee is in charge of security, and as far as he's concerned, you're in charge of forward intelligence, and as far as he's concerned, he doesn't know, and as far as he's concerned, you're the slicer, and as far as he's concerned, you're a psychopath. So, he doesn't treat you poorly. It's just, when you first came in, he said, so why should I hire you? And you went, well, I can teach you how to find food where there isn't any. I can teach you to find water where there isn't any. I can tell you what creatures are safe to pet and what creatures aren't. I can tell you approximately how long it's going to be before the average nasty weather pattern hits the... Pardon me if I'm putting words in your mouth. I'm just giving you a resume because I know you don't know. So I'm giving you both your resume. Aren't I a magician? And then he reached his... some of you were present for this, by the way. I think Dubaka was present for it, too. He sort of reaches into a heavy armored case, click, click, flip, pulls out a fucking E11 sniping rifle, military issue, full scope. Did you get the bipod?
Yep.
Bipod, full scope, everything. And he said, and for everything else, he said, I have this. And Kevin looked at you, watched you scratching your chin, and Kevin looked at you and watched your face slowly folding inwards. And then Kevin went, well, how can I say no to that? That's Imperial tech. This isn't really a time to be reticent about the fact that you're carrying really restricted Imperial tech. And it's a weapon, too. They love it when you have Imperial weapons. Oh, they invite you to a party, and the party's at their detention block, and that's where all the best Imperial parties are. Everybody knows. As a matter of fact, Imperial parties are so good that once you go in, they never let you go. So,
papers.
Okay, can I? He hands you the papers, and you're like, "What's the best forgeries you have ever seen in your life?"
Yeah, they're good.
Like the best. Like either he blew an Imperial moth, or like.
He's got contacts.
Or he had 12 droids go, come back when we're finished, we'll tell you. Like, if they're good, they're good. If they're good, they're good. It's really evil. You're not going to wander around the ship with this, are you?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No.
All right, that's good. Because I got to tell you, I'm a grown man, and I've seen some things, and this scares me. And you scare me. Nobody likes the chiss, right? I'm sorry. I mean, it's not personal. I don't even know you, but I'm still supposed to be scared of you. This is what they taught me in school. They said, don't bother. They said, don't bother Wookiees. Trandoshans smell bad. Toydarians fly, and don't trust the chiss. It was a real short course. It was sort of geared towards putting me to the work world. Anyway, so you're hired. You were like. I don't know what to do with you. And I know you want to work for me, but I can't for the life of me figure out why.
Have you ever talked to a hut before? They're not nice people.
Well, we have one wrenching in the ship.
Oh, he's the exception to the rule.
Thank you.
He's a special case.
Okay, that's a good point. Are you touting yourself as a culture liaison? Because I have some culture training.
Do you know how to shoot a blaster?
Unfortunately.
Do you know how to negotiate?
Are you better at it than I am?
I don't know. You'd have to answer that question. You've seen my resume. I haven't seen your resume.
That's fair. That's very fair. That's a fair statement. I accept that statement. He lifts his Stetson and scratches his head a bit. Well, okay. I don't know what you're good for, but you seem a nice enough fellow, and hope you can dig. You understand that every now and then you're going to be digging with like a shovel.
I've shoveled shit before, and I probably could shovel dirt too.
I hope we don't have to dig through that. I really do. Because digging through poodoo is not my idea of fun. From your lips to the ears of the galaxy, I hope.
Not mine either.
Oh, I know. Do you have trouble with poodoo sticking to your fur? Okay. Yeah, we're going to totally respect that, all right? No poodoo on his fur, all right? By the way, this captain fellow, he doesn't like using his blaster either. You're pretty sure he's pulled it out of his holster maybe 5 times. The holster still creaks when he sits down. The parts of the pistol that you think should be worn down over time are still shiny. So you belong to who?
Some of the best pilots in the entire galaxy.
Can you plot a hyperspace course without a computer?
If I have to. Rather not. You got it, Navigo?
Plot that computer. He clicks on a chronometer. Go.
Where do you want to go?
He's got that. What he gives you a note with the starting point, the destination, some orbital mechanics, planetary rotation, and gravitic fluctuation ratings. It's basically, he's given you all the information you need. He's timing you.
Flicks through. If you want, I'll make rolls.
No, go ahead. No, just talk.
Okay. Yeah, and about yep, here. That'll get you there.
Click. Looks at it. Hands you. Can you double check that through the Navicom, please? Looks at the 2 numbers. They're accurate to the 7th percentile. He's like, okay, well, it's a real jump, and it's a fast jump, and you're totally hired. Anything I should know? Why don't you like him? I mean, nobody likes the Chiss, but I mean, I get the feeling that you got the deluxe. Nobody likes the Chiss.
As long as we both understand that we're here on a job, it shouldn't be a problem. If it is, it'll be dealt with privately, and, well, I'm sure you got secrets too, so you don't ask, and no one worries, right?
I do have a concern or two. One of them involves essentially members of my crew hanging upside down, bleeding out someplace because of a vendetta.
There isn't one, really.
So there's no you're okay, all right, oh, okay. Well, that's good enough for me because I'm just in it for the artifacts. I really am. Okay, and so this was sort of the now. Back a bit. Adam. Your interview was like, you're Gan Finesman. So whatever it is, you can pretty much find it, and it's a big deal for you.
We do not give up.
You're hired. Listen, I don't suppose there's anything you can do about the fact that you smell like pee, is there? I mean, I guess what I want to hear now is that you don't smell like pee because you pee yourself. Because we have drugs for that. I just need to know to factor it into the budget. It's all right. I mean, I don't judge.
This gland expels waste gases through its carapace.
Every day is a toilet. Okay. Good to know you. Good to know. He sort of looked at you and you found you. He was like, he blinks a couple of times, like, I can smell your breath from here. I don't mind drunks as long as they're functioning drunks. Two of my best uncles were drunks. Fantastic fellas. And they could do their job, so, and they lived longer than my mom did, and she was sober. So I don't really care about that. I just want to, yeah, all right. And he asks you to do a couple of simulated hacks, and you're like, wow, you're gonna be kidding. No. I mean, this is some of the simplest slices you've ever seen in your life. It's like you're half tempted to teach Doki how to pull the slice and let him do it. You know. It's cutting into your drinking time. You scared him to death because he had his back turned, and you walked up behind him and went. He turned around and he said, "I think there's a." Hey! Oh my! Whatever you think I did, I can guarantee you it was somebody else who looked a lot like me, but it wasn't me. And look, if you're going to kill me, just quick, because I don't like pain. It hurts.
I'm just here to work.
You want a job? He looks at some of the battle trophies on your, and he looks at the Vibrax and says, "You're not a medic, are you?" No, I'm not a medic. Hey, wait a minute. I know you. Yeah. I know. And he runs. He's come here. Come on the ship. It's all right. Come on board the ship. And he runs you to one of the many lounges. There's lounges all over this fucking ship. He runs you to one of the many lounges and he punches a few buttons into the the communications array, which in turn clicks into the local holonet here. And he goes whipping past some other programs, goes past the Telehuddies, goes past all the other, and then we'll talk about the Telehuddies later. But he whips past the Telehuddies, and then he stops at a sports network that has pit fighting, and it's showing one of your old reruns. Is that you? Are you him? You're him. Wow. Okay, so why? I mean, you could make a lot more money doing that.
I wasn't paid in the first place.
They never paid you? You was robbed. You should get a solicitor. You should take that to the courts. You should. I think you got a case.
I'd rather just forget about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around these days. I know you can fight. That's no doubt. I'm pretty sure anything I point you at is going to really want to rethink its career choices in short order. What concerns me is that you, having a very specific skill set, may not know when the best time is to fight. And I don't know how old you are, because I'm sorry, but I can't tell Wookiee's age. I mean, you're bedecked in silver, but that doesn't tell me nothing. I mean, because I know the younger Wookiees are all like, whoa.
Part of surviving the pits was learning how to negotiate.
You'd be very useful in negotiation, depending on what it was I was trying to say. All right, you're hired. They didn't make any of the quarters on this ship with a Wookiee in mind. I know, nobody makes anything with a Wookiee in mind. The good news is, as we start getting up some money, I have some revenue streams open, and when the time comes, if it works out, I'm going to see about maybe expanding the size of the quarters so you get a little bit of living room. I think that's, now I don't know what we can give you for headspace. You're 9 feet tall, so we'll do the best we can for you, but we may at least be able to let you stretch out when you lie down. We'll look into it. What I'm saying is we're not going to have you live in a mailbox, okay? That's not right. Probably going to give you your own refresher, too, because, I mean, hair and that sort of thing. It's best looked after in its own milieu, I think.
Good enough.
Okay. Welcome aboard and pick a place, and try not to pick a place that somebody else already has, and if they have, try not to kill them. And you don't touch anybody on my crew unless I say so, or you're gone. That's it. That's the only really hard rule right now. There might be more because I'm new to this, but you don't throw your weight around. You don't touch anybody on the crew. These people need to trust you, and if they're afraid of you, they won't. And you may not think that'll bite you in the ass, but I know it'll bite me in the ass, and I don't need my ass bit. There was a Twi'lek girl who had a thing like that, so I'm telling you, I could not get out of that woman's house fast enough. But, welcome. Big. Wanders off. So, this was 2 days ago. Now, it's breakfast. And, well, whatever that means. I mean, the galley, nobody knows. I mean, there's a common area. There's like what appears to be a crew lounge, I think, on deck 2, with a big table, and everybody's is apparently designed to sit around it. But you're not sure where the culinary devices are, and neither does Marrow, and Kevin doesn't know either. Nobody knows a damn thing. And when you ask Sassoon is doing a tune-up on the engines. He says, "Don't ask me. I eat stuff ready-made." And Doki gives you an interpretive dance. The Jawa language is fascinating in its ability to communicate and not communicate at precisely the same time. And of course, the first time the Jawa lays his eyes on the Wookiee, the Jawa looks at the Wookiee, and the Wookiee looks at the Jawa. He wanders over and sort of pats your kneecap and walks past you. Gonk doesn't give a damn. Gonk's got the army. Off he goes. Gonk. By the way, Gonk's power thingy will recharge anything. Anything. He's got something like 20 adapters on the backside of his shell. Anything that you need from anywhere, anyhow, Gonk's got the adapter for that. He doesn't have the cord, but he's got the adapter, so he's good to go. Sassoon doesn't leave the ship. Sassoon doesn't leave the ship. Unless it's to make an external whatever, and even then, he would frankly rather Doki did it, except he can't trust Doki because Doki's distractible. From what you can tell, oh, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, Doki doesn't know where the cooking places are. Dr. Jotano, who really is just as new to this place as you are, doesn't know. So, you know, sitting there having made a cup of calf with what amounts to 2 shaved power leads, Captain Marrow is like, "We have got to do better than this." Which How did the clones who served on this ship eat anything without any? I do not even understand. Did diplomats not eat? Diplomats eat?
I'm pretty
Well,
sure
what do you mean?
that all
I'm not-
the stuff would have been imported. You know, personal cooks and all this other.
Well, sure, personal cooks, but cook what? Cook where? There's no. We gotta fix this. I'm putting it. Well, I'm definitely making a note of this because this is just madness. This is like 5-6 days now that we've been sitting around here staring at each other, wondering what we're going to eat for breakfast. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Everybody knows this.
So
Why?
who do we send our expense reports to?
It doesn't quite work that way. You're paid a flat fee. Any expenses are done through me. I apply them up the chain. I do not have carte blanche on the money, but I do have access to money. And it essentially involves me going cap in hand for a lot of things. The only thing I don't go cap in hand for is your money. Now, you've all made arrangements to me to either be paid in currency, specie, or data transfer. And those will be honored. But anything in addition, I have to bring a list to a little fellow whose precise identity is probably best you don't know, who is a bastard, and who I wish to have terrible piles. And then I ask him for the money, and he usually says no. And then I hurl imprecations at him, and we negotiate.
Well, if you tell him that the crew will mutiny if you don't get some proper food and cooking facilities, he'll probably accept that.
I might even have Dubaka strangle me on the hollow transmission just to make the point, because I'd do that. I would. In the meantime, he pulls out a small hollow transmitter, one of those things that makes the sort of ubiquitous, razzy, fuzzy images of the Star Wars world, and he takes said thing and he fiddles with it for a bit, trying to figure out how it. Hey, what do you?
Do you want this monitor on?
Please. Now, apparently it's drag it this way.
Oh.
You see?
Yes.
That is called the Chuck Chuck. Now, it's the holo transmitter does a better job than the picture does, but the holo transmitter essentially depicts it as something about this big. Think of the little grinning constipated statue made of gold in the first Raiders movie that Indiana tries to steal, and but it's made of stone. It's made of a very highly polished reddish stone that's obviously designed to look like the reddish brown cloaks that Jawas often wear. And it's basically a fetiche or a large statue, not quite a bust because you can see sort of diminutive little hands. This is the Chuck Chuck. The Chuck Chuck is very, very important to Jawas. Doki comes in the room, sees the Chuck Chuck, and goes, "It's a papa! Oh, the Chuck Chuck! Oh, the Chuck Chuck! Oh," and he keeps doing this. This is the Chuck Chuck. Oh, the Chuck Chuck! Oh, the Chuck Chuck! The Chuck Chuck! Oh, the Chuck Chuck! Oh, the Chuck Chuck! The Chuck Chuck has an extremely it has quite the significance to Jawas. Apparently, it grants an unbelievable amount of temporal influence over Jawas. It's essentially whoever holds the Chuck Chuck can all but command any Jawa within sight of the Chuck Chuck. However, there's a problem. Chuck Chuck is also very highly sought after, particularly by the Jawas. And the Jawas are none too particular about how they get it. And, Doki's like, he's sort of hugging he's putting his hands through the energy.
Grab it by the scruff of the neck.
Got it! What do you need? Tobacco. As if none of you have heard him say this. He's like, Every now and he ducks down below the dais and then looks up again to make sure the Chuk-Chuk's still there. Yeah, apparently there have been entire Jawa clan wars started and maintained over hundreds and hundreds of years over the possession of the Chuk-Chuk. I don't understand anything about the Chuk-Chuk. I don't know why anybody wants the Chuk-Chuk, but they do. And we're going to get the Chuk-Chuk, and we're going to put the Jawas are tugging on his overcoat. You know, it's like no, because we no, because no, but do you want the Emperor to get the Chuk-Chuk? Yeah, do you want the Emperor to get the Chuk-Chuk? Well, we're going to take the Chuk-Chuk and we're going to hide the Chuk-Chuk so it's very safe. We're not going to take the Chuk-Chuk away forever. We're just going to hide it so it's very safe. No. Look, I promise we will give the Chuk-Chuk back when the time comes. I promise we'll give the Chuk-Chuk back, okay? Sassoon sort of lumbers in. There's a lot of clanking and clinking and jiggling. And yes. Do something about him. He's in a state. What is that? After having explained to Sassoon. Two large grabber arms and he sees one and he's like nah. He runs right into the other one. They grab him and it doesn't like crush him to, obviously it doesn't crush him, but it sort of lifts him up and holds him at length, and then he turns around. I'm sorry that he was a problem. Wanders off. Chuck. I think when we get it, we should put it in a box. And I think we should put it in another box. And I think we should put it in another box.
And maybe bury that box?
I think we should, yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
So why are the Jawas so important that I never knew that the Jawas were this much of a factor?
You mean you wonder why the Emperor wants the Chuk-Chuk so badly when it's only important to the Jawa? That's a good question. We know that the newly minted Imperial Archaeological Co. is still in many ways cutting its teeth. This may be a practice run for them as much as it is for us. I don't know. All I know is we need to get there first. And the good news is we have someone who I think can find it. Can you get started? Yeah, him and his piddle smell will go right with him. Well, we're gonna. I wish the doctor would take me over this. All right, well, we'll have to. Maybe there's something we can spray on him. Maybe we can get him in a suit. We get some armor on him. Maybe that'll take this. I'm sorry about that. I really am. But he's really good at what he does.
I just might have to throw him in a refresher every now and again.
I don't know if that would do any good.
Couldn't hurt.
Okay. Quite. We're gonna give him as long as he needs to do his thing. But the minute he's found it, we're gonna snap into action. So be ready. In the meantime, I gotta go and see a man about a dewback, and I will talk to you when we've found something out. And he gets up, sets his hat back on his head, sticks his hands in his pockets, and goes whistling down the corridor. And you are left alone to converse as you will.
Never in my time in this galaxy have I heard someone utter Jawa and importance in the same sentence.
There's time for everything.
Just go sit in a corner.
What do you actually know about this planet
The
we're
axe out, little tool.
heading for?
Tweak, 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 tweak,
There.
tweak.
It's like an
I would have to
endless
make a dice
beach
roll for
within
that.
the ocean.
Oh, Tatooine, that's right.
I just assume that I've had
It's
this
a
thing
rock.
so long that I know how to
Sandy
tweak
rock
it,
in
you know,
space.
fix it.
Nobody goes there, and nobody likes it.
Hot.
It is literally the ass end of nowhere.
Except now it's got something that everyone's, that
Well-
at least two groups want.
I believe I remember someone saying the word scum and villainy in the same word in the same sentence at one point, describing that world.
Can't be any worse than what I've seen.
Oh, I don't distrust that sentence.
So what do they mainly trade in?
Water.
They can barely sustain their own economy, let alone trade it. But yes, technically they trade in water. One of the benefits of a desert planet is there's nothing to really contaminate it. Very little vegetation. The animals there are usually, well, honestly, I don't know a whole lot about it. But there are some big animals there. It boggles my mind that even they can survive.
Great dragons. Nice. Big. They cook up good on the skillet too. Mm-mm-mm. Especially the biggest of the crate dragons. Oh, the big grand dragons. Oh.
From what I've heard of described of you, you will be earning your paycheck
Oh,
on
yeah.
this run, I believe.
Definitely. Well, aside from the weather, which is going to be a problem, pretty much everything that is native that lives and breathes on that planet will try to kill us.
Lovely.
I would expect so. In fact, that's probably a good
The
policy.
Jawas probably won't try to kill us, they'll just accidentally kill us.
The Jawas are more likely to steal your stuff, actually. They want your stuff. They don't want to hurt you or anybody, they just want your stuff.
If the local wildlife doesn't get us, the huts will.
There's two big ones there. They're both then two different clans too, which is always really nice. And by nice, I mean well.
In fact, I'm pretty sure they love that planet because it's so isolated and out of the way, which means they can spread their tendrils without being.
So what are the names of these huts?
Jabba, Desiligic Tiur, and Gardula, for the rest of her, which particularly escapes me. She's not the same clan. As far as I know, Gardula is only a only momentarily represented in the extended universe, and not much is known about her. Although I would imagine
The hut is canon.
is she? Okay.
Phantom Menace, she originally owned.
Phantom Menace, I
Yes,
believe,
the-
I believe the Clone Wars as well.
Anakin and one of his slaves.
Okay.
Clone Wars, the cartoon series. I think she shows up there too.
They tend to stay out of each other's strengths. But from time to time, I've heard of fights between them.
Don't look important.
Exactly.
They won't care.
If you have any jewelry or valuables on you, I would leave them behind. In fact, we probably shouldn't even land the ship on Tatooine, although I'm sure plenty of traders don't give a fuck and do it anyway.
Well, there's the cities that have spaceports, and you can be guaranteed a relatively minor hassle. Bribes, whatnot.
Probably even worse with the Empire.
At least you have the expectation of corruption, where with the Empire, you have to navigate the minefield through skullduggery and
You never remember, Tatooine is the ass end. It's controlled by the Huts.
There's only one way to deal with the Bureaus.
like I said, the game is fairly open, and everything is usually understood. And yes, you do pay for everything. Somehow.
So as you folks are gabbing away. It takes you 2-3 hours to find out which clan has this Chuck. It takes you another hour to find out where their crawler is. I mean, it's like they have homes, and the homes move, but there's nowhere for the moving homes to hide. So you just
Big desert.
yeah, and desert has almost no smell really, except it smells like hot. And so you, yes. Except as you get closer, you hear something else. You hear the warbling of a small droid. Jawas might be going to get the droid. Jawas like to do this. Droids go wandering off into the wastes. Jawas go yoink. They fix them up, sell them back, make a little money. So I assume that when the crawler stops near a very low outcropping of rocks, just enough to hide behind, but not enough to provide, not like the canyons where R2-D2 was captured by the Jawas, but just low enough to hide behind that you can peek over and not be seen. Am I correct in assuming that's what you do?
Yeah.
When the Jawas stop the crawler and come out to get the droid, which is an R5 droid, I mean, essentially remember the 2 droids that were first sold to the Skywalkers? Well, one of them was a red droid, and then he had a thing. He caught a condition, and he was sort of pushed back. Well, sort of the red dome droid with the 3, those are R5 droids, and the little R5 droid is woodling back and forth. And then what the R5 droid does, as the Jawas get closer, is very intriguing. But we're going to cut back to the ship. It's a few hours later. You've essentially made a report that you'd better get down here. And be careful, but you better get down here. So Marrow flips on the 1MC and says, all right, we've got a report. He's apparently found it. I don't know. There's some sort of... I don't know what's going on. Let's get ready to go down and have a look. Pilot, I'm on the bridge, so let's go.
All right. What do you want me to say?
All you hear is that I so don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
Very
What do you
sort
want
of
me to
so
set this thing down?
Adam's character puts down the signal, and
We're gonna be
within basically 200-300, maybe 100 meters of it. The area is you spot the sandcrawler from the air, and it's on fire. You also spot him from the air because your eyes are that good, and he's not on fire. So that's good.
All right.
Start.
I'm currently looking for somewhere reasonable.
We're gonna need a new Gan Feynman, boys.
All
Yeah,
right.
I need to figure out how many destiny points we have.
Oh shit! Yes. Sorry about that. We should do that now. Jesus Christ. I need everybody to roll a single force die, either for real or on the tablet.
Then we'll need a 4 real.
Stephen, would you let him one of your 4 real force dice? I know you have at least one.
You actually have the proper stuff.
Do you not have any?
First die is white, yes?
Yep, that's the right one.
The white call sign.
Adam, catch.
One right side.
Those dice there, they stay in on that side of the room with you. You're the lord of the dice. They don't come over here because Steve has some, and if they mix,
Never will they.
Well, you could always hope
We'll
to
start
multiply.
dating musicians. Yeah, but then we won't know whose they belong to. We'll be in custody battles in court over the dice. Because he may be my friend, but he's the prick. So, hey.
And
I resemble that guy, right?
What's that? Yeah, you roll 2.
One black circle.
1 black circle.
1 white.
Okay, wait a minute. We better do this right, or I'm going to be here retallying. 1 black circle.
1 white.
1 white circle.
Dark side.
Black.
2 white.
2 white.
2 black.
2 black.
Oh dear.
I know, I have to be different.
2 white.
Who says there's no such thing as a gray Jedi?
Apparently that's a carefully guarded secret.
I will explain how all this works to you forthwith. This is going to be really. I guess we're going to have to use the
First year
side
was
table
a-
for this because we
great
just,
job.
I don't think we had any. These are
She walked both
the
ways.
dark side.
She was the one who first encountered the Yuuzhan Vong before the, like, several decades before the actual invasion.
Who did?
Before the
Bergier.
everything.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that was really fun. I don't mind saying. Now, the red are actually supposed to be black, but I couldn't find any black poker chips. If you know where I can find some good, nice, heavy black poker chips, I don't mind if they got white on them. But
I have some at home.
oh yeah, you got the nice, nice clay ones.
They're pewter or like plastic or something. Like it's a
They're
fake
pewter or plastic.
They're fake.
Whipping them
They're. No, they're plastic. They're
But are
definitely
they
plastic.
the
They're-
nice heavy?
They're hard.
ones?
Yeah, they're thick. They're thick like that, but they're not.
Okay. I like it. Okay. Anyways, so the dark, the ones that are red, facing it. Now, the reason that we're okay. Who here hasn't read the Destiny Point rules? Let's start with that.
I skimmed over them.
Okay, so we got 2, and the rest of you have read the Destiny Point rules.
Just because I read it doesn't mean I necessarily understand.
I'm
Put you in the know
back.
category,
Yeah.
Adam. Are you in the know category? Okay.
I got it.
So for those of you that haven't read them, there is a series of things you can do with Destiny points. I don't suppose the rules summary has it. So okay, well, Dan will now guide us through what we can do with the Destiny points.
Mo, Dan read from the Holy Tome.
How Destiny points are used. When a player spends a light side Destiny point, it is converted into a dark side Destiny point after the current action is resolved. When the GM spends a dark side Destiny point, it is converted to a light side Destiny point in the same fashion. Conversion takes place at the end of the action during which the Destiny point is used, preventing players or GMs from immediately spending a just converted Destiny point. You have the opportunity of calling on Destiny to enhance any skill check you're about to attempt. You can spend 1 Destiny point to upgrade your starting pool by
Stop a
1
second. Stop a second, please. Does anybody here not know what upgrade means? Upgrade means that if you have dice, if for instance if you have a dice pool where some or all are the green D8s, you can take one of those green D8s and substitute a yellow D12, and that works with the purple D8s as well. Those upgrade to a red D12. Carry on, please.
Okay. The GM may spend dark side Destiny point in this way to upgrade one of the NPC's dice pools. Addition, blah blah blah.
What addendum to the upgrade?
What's that?
What addendum to the upgrade? If all you have is yellow dice, it adds one of the base dice in place.
Yes. Yes.
A Destiny point can also be used to keep characters out of harm's way. Characters can call on Destiny to make an opponent's skill check more challenging. A single player can spend white and light side point to upgrade the difficulty on any NPC skill check by 1 step. Same thing for GM spends dark side Destiny point to upgrade one of the PC's dice pool in the same manner. Special abilities and talents. Some require Destiny points to be spent. For example, a savvy Politico can spend a Destiny point to immediately recover from strain equal to his presence rating. Many other uses exist as well. Reviewing the individual talent. Luck and Deus Ex Machina. Destiny can also be used for players to introduce facts and additional context directly into the narrative. The GM already does this by managing and directing the story, but the use of Destiny points provides this to characters as well. Imagine the characters are landing or land on a planet they expect to have breathable atmosphere, only to find a leak in the gas mine facility has rendered the air toxic. One of the players suggests a Destiny point saying, or spends a Destiny point saying, "Good thing you remembered to pack those rebreathers last time we were at Dry Dock, Posh." While none of the players may have specifically mentioned or listed rebreathers before, it is sensible if the GM agrees the Destiny point is spent and the player's contribution is now a true state.
I would like to add a note to that. This is fucking ripe for abuse. Now, you guys were not selected for my game because you're known abusers, but when things get tight, characters get squeezed. So here's roughly how this is going to work. I am going to I'm going to severely restrict the use of Destiny points in allowing Okay, let me restart. You're going to have to work for it if you want to convince me you want to use a Destiny point to inflict direct physical harm on another character. and you are going to have to work for it if you want to do anything other than paragraph editing is not really going to work. Your edits need to be kept to a sentence, maybe two. Anything more than that, and you are essentially aspiring to the job of the GM. You can't have it. It's mine. And the lowest, the least disruptive alteration that will also favor the person using the destiny point will be the one that makes me smile the most. For instance, if an imperial stormtrooper, by the way, I must warn you, imperial stormtroopers come in various flavors in this game. You will meet some who you wonder how they got in their armor. You will meet some that will make you wonder why you were born. Okay? They're not all the same. I know that, but you see, part of the problem is that some people want to treat stormtroopers like the elite troopers they're supposed to be. Some people want to treat stormtroopers like they couldn't shoot straight if they put their blaster to their own head. Because the game is written with that in mind, but because ultimately that grates against the canon, I had to reconcile both realities. So I'm saying that that when I say you meet stormtroopers, there are 3 different varieties of enemies. Well, actually 4 if you count nemesis. There is the minions, the rivals, not the nemesis, there's one above nemesis. The nemesis, and then the one above the nemesis, which I can't remember what they're called, but they're like, Vader is one of those. Listen to that more than you listen to Stormtrooper. Do yourself that favor, because a group of Stormtrooper minions, these are guys that just came out of the academy, fresh from the tanks. Okay. Stormtrooper rivals, they know what they're doing. Stormtrooper nemesis that are working together, find a box, dig a hole, jump in the hole, pull the hole in after you, pray. These are not going to be... You might have fun. You might have a shit ton of fun. You'll be like, wow, I'm in heaven. But I guarantee most of you will be like, oh, this isn't good. So, yeah. But yes, going back to the original point, if you're using dramatic editing, keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it incident. Shit, you guys all played Mage, right? The old World of Darkness game, Mage? Coincidental. Keep it coincidental.
I've never actually played a Mage game, but I know the rules.
I know. Well, you couldn't have been in the World of Darkness without hearing about coincidental magic. There's no way, unless you were like...
Basically, like little cantrips, just sort of like...
More along the lines of, this just happened to happen. Right? There wasn't a fireball because I pointed at the building and uttered it something. There was a fireball because
it's giving reality a nudge
because the gas line was frayed and it just happened to pop and there just happened to be like that sort of thing. So that's how I and in the end I am the final arbiter. But the rules in there are really like, oh yeah, really, yeah, that's wouldn't give that fucking rule set to mark. So, anyways, is there more?
A little bit.
Okay.
So, similarly, a player may spend a destiny point in a manner of finding like a spare stim pack and quickly stabbing through medical facility, or introducing a terrain for each feature the character can duck behind for cover.
But there is no spending a destiny point to say, no, the character that's been declared dead is actually alive. There'll be none of that.
Got you do that before you actually die. Say, I'm not actually dying, you can haul my barely breathing corpse out and stuff me in the tank.
Yeah, that's another thing, you guys don't have a back tank. And this is a particular, I know, I got you, I understood. I'm just saying, as an aside, this particular area of galactic history, Bacta is very heavily controlled by the Empire, so I don't know how the hell the Rebels get their hands on any of that giant fucking tank of this stuff, too. Just let Luke marinate in that shit forever, So, but yeah, no, you're absolutely. I really wanted to get a better handle with this group on what that kind of dramatic editing would allow. Is there more?
Well, the next one is essentially just going over what you said. Don't be a dick. GM has final ruling. Economy and gameplay. They indicate that you should not be hoarding your arsenal of weapons to throw peas at the giant killer robot because you might need it later on. It encourages the use of it frequently by both sides.
Spend your destiny points. I'm encouraged to spend mine. You're encouraged to spend yours. Because every time, because otherwise what ends up happening is that I either have a bunch of black ones or you guys have. My problem with spending the destiny points is that I have a built-in bias against arbitrarily upping the difficulty of things once I've written them down in my notes because I don't want to be fucking with you, but the game says fuck with them, so whatever.
Things are going too easy. Poke.
So destiny must also be used wisely. Each player can only invest one destiny point into any single check. So if you choose to invest a destiny point to upgrade an ability die into a proficiency die, for example, you cannot also invest a destiny point to trigger one of the character's talents. You can one destiny point per skill check.
Yeah.
And same thing for the GM.
And I think is spending a destiny point an action. Okay.
There's nothing mentioned in here.
Yeah.
I'm actually having to spend an action on it. I'm assuming if you're activating a talent, it's whatever
It's part
activates
of that
talent.
action.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we will go back to the aerial shot, unless there's more.
The GM and the players can make use of the destiny points at the same time. So if I go, I upgrade one of my ability dies into a proficiency die, and then Gus says, well, I upgrade one of your setback die to I can't remember what into a red die.
Hazard, is it?
Hazard die or something like that. But like it said, they don't convert at the same time, so there has to be a light side and a dark side for both sides to use it.
Yeah, we are urged not to be dicks like that to each other all the time.
But it's just
They go into the currently being used pool rather than being switched over immediately.
yeah.
I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm going to do everything I can to defend recurring villains. Because I'm not going to have a repeat of the General Grievous.
Halfway through his speech, popped to bed.
Somebody?
We had a
No,
level 9
not
party
somebody.
that
Not some
pooped
single buddy. No.
on General Grievous because we kept popping destiny points in the old version of the game. What were they called?
They were
Some destiny
they
points.
were
They're
destiny
destiny
points.
points.
But
Yeah.
there was a different mechanic.
Yeah.
Essentially got
But
a
they allowed
certain
you to
number
speak.
of
Because they were
Things
clones, they
horrible.
had no destiny per se, so I kept it open, right? And they never used any destiny points for anything. So they walk into this separatist base, and there's General Grievous on one side, 6 or 7 player character ARC troopers on the other side, and it's like, what do you want to do? Well, what we want to do is reenact the scene in Jurassic Park where the helpless cow is lowered into the velociraptor pit, complete with honk whistles and shrieks, if that's okay with you. And with pretty much the same results, they pulled out what was left of Grievous, and that's not good. They took, if the destiny points that these guys had were in a toothpaste tube, they took the toothpaste tube and went, sploot!
Well,
And
kind
then
of a chain
we got
reaction.
one of those little plastic things that you put on the end, like on a can of Spam, and we did this. Make sure we got all of it in.
You see, Dan has a blessing from the gods, and you put a D20 on the table. He rolls it in such a way that the 20 magically wishes to be in the face of the sun all the time. So Dan goes 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. What was that? It's a 19. 20, 20. Oh fuck. 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. You're just like, oh. So at the end of the game session, Dan comes over and pats Mara and says, "Don't worry, maybe we actually killed his twin brother, General Grovis."
General Grover? What?
I'm like, maybe I want you to leave so I can open my veins in peace.
How many D20s did you throw out of the room that session?
I think I threw 2 of them at you because you're trying to be funny. It's like, well, guys, like, ping! Oh my god, my eye! Carter sitting in the corner like,
I don't remember who it was, but it was definitely a chain reaction. We all had one turn, but we were just like, yeah, fuck it, we're gonna kill this guy.
yeah, they all got
Well, if you're doing it, I may as well do it.
Yeah, exactly.
They all got a high initiative. They all got a higher initiative than Grievous. I think what happened was Grievous went, right, he took his 4 attacks, because in the D20, the way the D20 system was set up, the last couple of attacks were of lesser capacity. So
I think I would have thrown the rule out of the window for Grievous on that one. But
it's General Grievous, who the hell? Like, you know, anyway, so the first 2 attacks I think did some damage, but I think Ian's so... So, where were we? Oh, you're flying over top of it. Do we have anything more to add?
No, that's the point.
You're flying, he's not on fire, time to land.
I'm looking for somewhere to land the ship. Nice big chunk of...
Well, you pick one because
Desert?
there's salt flat for as far as the eye can see in any direction,
Good
so you
enough.
go ahead.
Off to the side, so we can see the burning thing and our findsman, and there it goes.
Now we return to a couple of hours earlier, when the Jawas come out and they go and the droid actually seems happy to see them, and then sort of the droid does that thing where it rocks back and forth on its legs and makes beepity beepity sounds. And then when the majority of the Jawas come over, a little flap pops up on top, and you're like, well, it's a bad motivator. Everybody knows the R57. Oh, that's not a bad motivator. A dark greenish ochre dust is pumped into the air in a massive cloud. And you can't smell it, and because you don't breathe air,
Make sure my breather's on right.
you know, it's and the Jawas essentially let out terrible noises, and they fall over dead. And you're thinking, and then you hear the howl of speeders. And as you sit very carefully, camouflaged very carefully, a number of medium-sized speeders with pintle-mounted weapons show up and blast the shit out of the exterior of the sandcrawler, which most of them do. Essentially, they blow the treads off the sandcrawler so it can't drive away. Then a couple of humanoid miscreants run up to an access port, use a heavy piece of machinery on an access port to grind open one of the back hatches. A bunch of them run inside, and there's a terrible cacophony of dying Jawas, firing blasters, the whole thing. And one particular humanoid is sort of waiting. He's sitting outside, just behind the dropped ramp, with a couple of bodyguards. You would imagine bodyguards. I mean, they're big and they're heavily weaponed. And he's waiting. Most of his head is covered in a bandana, so I mean, you know he's a he because of his smell. But then everybody comes, as far as you can tell, everybody except for one fellow who has to be carried out. Everybody comes out of the sandcrawler, and they're holding on to, something that's wrapped in the robe of a dead Jawa. You'd imagine. They push the robe aside, and there's the Chuk-Chuk. And then everybody jumps back on their respective speeders, and they fuck off to Mos Eisley at high speed. And you know it's Mos Eisley because you're like, Mos Eisley. Oh, I can taste the villainy.
Get a solid count.
Probably better than tasting the scum. I don't know.
So, when you arrive, you see the scene you see, and him patiently waiting. Marrow is sort of half crouched over, looking through a window beside your station, going, "They don't look there."
You won't we
Stay
go out
here.
and take a look?
Stay here on the ship, keep the engines hot, and ramp down. But nobody comes on but us.
Gotcha.
As he walks down, he says, "You, I think we're going to need. Dubaka, nobody gets on the ship except us. Thank you. Everybody else, let's go."
I go and find it. I just sort of think to myself, it's like, okay, walk away from the ramp, go and find Dookie, pick him up, throw him into his quarters, and lock the door.
Right, preempting trouble. Good idea.
When you put your hand on him, you get the strangest sensation for a minute, and then just it's gone. Like something inside you gets a glance at something, a sidelong touch of something that you're even the highly technically adaptable brains of the Wookiee, you can't, and then it's gone. It's as if you grabbed a fish in a stream, and before you could even realize that it was a fish, it had swum away and you couldn't catch it. But that's because he's flailing, and you have to throw his flailing butt into a room and lock it. So, and then you do your thing. So everybody, Marrow, Kevin, he's put his blaster belt on backwards, and he said, "I can't give us it." He puts it on. Oh, it goes like that. I always forget that part.
So you know how to use your blaster, but never mind.
I'm not really very good with a blaster. It's a long. Come on. Do you have a blaster? Do you know how to use your blaster? I'm happy for it. Come on.
Maybe not as well as him, but or
No, Talon does specialized work. The first thing that you sense when you step off the ramp is a very peculiar smell, and your brain is going through the Rolodex, right? Is it this? No. Is it this? No. Is it this? No. Is it this? You're working on it. Marrow walks over to you.
Sort of stop them before they get too close.
Yeah.
Point at those. Do not approach. Poison.
Poison? Where did poison come from?
Droid.
The droid is still sitting there beeping happily away. The droid poison. Your number is correct.
Speeders, that way.
so
They have the artifact.
they use the droid as bait.
And then they poisoned the Jawas, and then they came
Killed
and
those
finished off
inside.
the job. By the way, he opens up a comm link, so anybody with a comm link is hearing this in real time. So they probably got the Chuck, and we don't know who they are, do we? Well, what you do know is they're professional, they're fast, they don't fuck around.
And we know where they
Skilled,
went.
dangerous.
Do you know which way they went?
Isley.
Let's take a look around, see if we can find any survivors. Meanwhile, your Rolodex is like, it smells like. You were on Malastare once, and there was a particularly nasty herbivore female who used to paint areas with her urine that was mixed with a particular pheromone that would attract bulls to come and mate with her. And she was big. And she was really big.
But why here?
It's probably accidental. Yeah. This stuff, the smell is coming from this stuff. Like, I know you don't stick your face in it and breathe, but you can waft it towards you, and you're like,
Yeah.
it's probably this stuff.
Sorry. Yo.
Um,
Hey, what's up?
who might know this? Who might know? We're gonna use you for this education, I think.
Education. Yep. I have
So,
a yellow and a green die for that.
Do you have education?
Yeah.
We'll use you second if he doesn't do it. Yeah, the difficulty is a 2, so your 2 perps. This should be fine.
I don't think I passed. Huh? No, I don't think. I can't remember. This is 4, and I don't know with 2 successes plus I don't know what are the rebel symbols?
You have 2 successes, 2 advantage, 4 disadvantage.
Okay, so
So
I
next-
fail, but I
Yep,
gain.
you succeed, but have serious disadvantage as part of the success.
Okay. Oh, right. These are the failures.
Net-
Right.
Yeah, it's a net 2 disadvantage,
Yeah.
2 success.
Okay.
It's a chemical warfare agent. It's a known chemical warfare agent. And you could have sworn that you dealt with it before, but you can't quite put your finger on it.
This is bad shit. We need to get out of here. Do I know how long it stays in the air?
You don't know. Your roll was nowhere near good enough for that, in my estimation.
I do not want to be here right now.
Did he get any any. They're not successes. They're advantages. Did you get?
No, they were canceled by the.
Okay.
I have 4 disadvantages canceled.
Which
canceled the
2
2 disadvantages.
disadvantage
So
total.
a total of 2 disadvantages.
You have okay. So you're drawing a total blank, except that you know it's a known chemical warfare agent, and you could swear you've worked with it before in one of your blacker ops.
This shit is bad news. We do not need to be here.
Crate dragons.
Great trade.
It smells like crate dragon urine. Female crate dragon urine. And it's probably completely accidental. But it doesn't matter, because if it's crate dragon
Not a
urine,
good.
there are crate dragon bulls coming, whether they show up now or later.
Yeah, we really should get out.
The evidence we may or may not find here is not worth the trouble
Crate dragons.
we are going to bring here.
All right, everyone, let's go. You two, come on.
How long
Are you
is
hurt? You're not hurt, are you? Oh,
They never
good.
saw.
Nothing
Because then
broken.
you'd have to go see the doctor. And I don't know how that would work.
Had it been anybody else, I wouldn't answer the phone.
But it was God. Did God call? God was like, Greg.
Well, because, you know, if you consider my parents to be God, and in my current situation, they kind of are. Okay. So, I'm sorry, what happened?
Explain to him, Jesse.
Salem basically his nose perks up and his back just does this. Oh God! And it starts saying we should not go any closer to the sandcrawler. We need to get out of here.
They must have grabbed the Chuck. Let's go. We're going to Moss Isley.
Somebody want to grab the droid, if they can?
No.
Poison came out of that droid. There could be more.
I'm not going anywhere near that
You got a
droid.
breather.
It's like,
Yes, you take the assassin droid, Adam. That's good for you.
It is a nerve agent.
Am I
Do you know how-
understanding that people want to bring the source of whatever killed those on board our ship?
It was an idea. I'm vetoing it. We are leaving.
Thank you. I'm getting back on the ship.
Yeah.
Someone else will find. Shoot it, please.
Worst comes to worst, do back if it's still
Someone else
wandering
will find
around out
it.
here. We'll come and maybe grab it for salvage.
So,
I was thinking it would know where it came from.
Yeah, well, again, our Gandman here says something along the lines of Moss Isley. So, let's go to Moss Isley.
Could be a lot more.
Besides, if we catch the people that sent it, we know where it came from.
so at the request of the GAN, I pull up my blaster and I shoot the droid until it's smoking rubble.
It doesn't take much, it's an R5. So the head just goes, sad note. And everybody runs back on the ship.
Slugs are expensive.
The cargo ramp on this ship is like the boarding cargo ramp on this ship is just, it's too long and it's too narrow and it's just too damn silly. You just
As soon as the last person is up, I'm already closing it.
this big heavy mechanical whine as the ramp closes and they head towards Moss Isley. Now, Moss Isley is a civilized place. You can't just park any old place in Moss Isley. You got to pay money and park in one of their little parking donuts, also known as a docking bay.
Yeah, which means that we're already negotiating for where the heck we're going to dock this thing.
Kevin looks around. We don't have the money to dock this anyway. Not to mention the fact that if Customs decides to lock us down, we're going to be all day, and we don't want whoever these people are after we successfully manage to take it from them to be messing around. Private anyway. Find a place outside of Moss Isley, and we're just gonna we're gonna huff it.
Okay. Look around. Pick a
Who
spot
runs
that
the... Sorry.
isn't going to be too far away, and that's where we're setting.
I was going to say, who actually runs the docking base? Is it like...
Technically, it's under Imperial control through the planetary governor. Realistically, it's Imperial. Technically, the Imperial governor has sort of a docking bay administration, but there's all kinds of people who can say that you can or cannot leave. There's everyone from the Imperial Bureau, or from the Bureau of Ships and Services, to the constabulary. So it's
A bureaucratic mess you don't want to get involved in.
plus most of them are. I mean, you guys are a Silhouette 5 ship too, so most of these bays just wouldn't, you know. I mean, the Millennium Falcon is actually a Silhouette smaller than, and it barely fit some of these bays. So I don't understand why the Ruby Queen is considered to be larger than the Millennium Falcon, probably because it has 4 decks, but it is. So, an Imperial Class 2 Star Destroyer is considered Silhouette 7. I am believing that many of these things are placed in their silhouettes arbitrarily, and I'm believing there's an enormous degree of leeway given to the silhouettes, particularly at the higher end. So, you land. Marrow says, keep the engines hot. I don't know what's going to happen. You may have to do a hot pickup. Do you know how to do a hot pickup?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're going to basically be by yourself except for, well, where's Doki?
He's in a timeout.
I actually rattled off what deck he's on and what quarter.
You wanted to keep him from interfering with the check, didn't you? That's good thinking. Sassoon, I can't leave anybody protect the ship. Understood. I need all hands on deck. If we see Imperials and you pull that rifle, it had better be for the best reason you can think of.
Of course.
Good. Let's go. Gan, can you come with and show us, because Mos Eisley is a big place. Well, of course you know exactly where they are. You could smell 3 of them. One of them hasn't washed since he was born. So
I guess the Ruby Queen is about the size of a curling Corvette, or slightly smaller maybe.
it's in the same size class, but it's not this. It can't be the same size. I was taking a look at that too, and it's like it just
bigger.
can't be.
It doesn't have a bay big enough that could fit like a Corvette can carry.
No, I don't. No, a Corellian. Or what did you mean that a Corellian Corvette could carry?
A Starfighter.
No, because the.
Oh no, that's right. You have to. Never mind. You're right.
Yeah, there's a flexi thing. So, but yeah, so you're get ready. We may really need you.
Right, sit tight, keep everything ready, pick you up when and where.
One hand on the shields button, yeah? Okay.
Of course. Have fun.
That's
Bring
when
nothing back.
that's when you come to realize that the weapons that you have are not they cannot be slave to pilot control.
Ah, crud. Did nobody ever think to set this up so that I could actually use the guns?
We'll fix that. We'll get some money. We'll fix that. I promise. But now we gotta go.
Right, while you're gone, I'll talk to
Make a
Cecily
list.
about-
You know what? Make a list. Lists are good. I like lists.
Right, everything I want you to fix, you'll have a list.
The Gan taps you.
Tap. Ramp up Tuscans.
Oh. Well, but the Tuscans don't normally come wandering into Mos Eisley, though.
No,
Although
no,
you are
no.
outside Mos
I was gonna say,
Eisley.
we're not in Los Angeles.
Ramp up.
I could smell them from a mile away.
Are you guys here? Oh boy.
I could smell the beasts
You come
from
back
2
and the
miles
ship is
away.
actually sitting right there. Something came along, and I went up, and I'm circling, and I'll be back.
Tuscan Raiders. It's,
Oh,
it's
right.
Banthas, not Duvaks.
Yeah. Oh, incidentally.
Even better smelling.
Oh, you never
Still
get
can't
to,
find
actually
it.
you never get to find this out because Dubaka does something very smart. So there you go. So
I did what?
You did something very smart.
when you locked up Doki, you did yourself a very big favor. Not one I recommend you repeat often, but you did yourself a very big favor.
Theoretically, nothing should cause nearly as much problems as him with that thing.
Quite. So
I
you.
also didn't want to. I just also didn't want him to see those dead Jawas. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he would have taken that too well.
No, unless they weren't of another clan, in which case he would have went meh. So, but how were you to know? You didn't know. You don't know these things. So So you guys are jogging like.
Curious, just so we know, is the doctor with us?
No.
Okay. Doctor's still on the ship.
At which point,
And she's standing behind you when you're sitting in the pilot's chair with her arms crossed.
what?
I didn't say that I wanted anything.
All right, I'll amend the question to, why are you standing?
Because I want to know what's going on.
All right.
I am a member of the crew, am I not?
Oh, he didn't tell you? Okay.
I know what we're here after. I just don't know what we're here after here.
Someone got to the Jawas first, took the thing off to Mos Eisley. They're in pursuit, and we're sitting around waiting to bail them out when trouble happens.
She goes back to folding her arms and looking out the window.
Since somebody made it so that the guns are separated from.
No.
All right, can you ask Sassoon to come talk to me about that?
That I can do.
Good.
Sassoon sort of squeezes his bulk into the... And again, it's not him, it's the first he has to move this, and then that, and then this, and then hot like an Egyptian. Kind of through this hatch. Clank-a-tink. Can I help you?
Hopefully. The ship's guns don't seem to be accessible by anyone sitting up here. Can you fix that?
Do you not have enough to do with piloting the ship?
That depends. If it's necessary to actually get the ship somewhere, somebody might have to.
It will require a part that I currently do not possess.
It'll go on the list for the boss. In the meantime, if something attacks us, could you fire the guns?
Technically, yes, but you would not wish it of me.
If it's going to save all of our asses,
I must do this from a remote station. At the back of the ship. Blind. Guessing.
and if somebody fed you some data so you could aim?
Would you fly a ship that way?
Generally not, but when really crazy shit's going down, you do crazy shit too.
You cannot feed me coordinates quickly enough to make it practical. If we are doing it when the poodoo flies, as it were. I am sorry, but in the absence of gunners, the weapons will have to remain silent. I will, however, place it at the top of my priority list for when we obtain the part. This, I promise.
Alright, while we're making a list, what other things do you think we really ought to have parts for that we don't?
I have a few suggestions. And he sort of wiggles his four little legs pop out the butt. Like he has a not a utility belt, but almost like an orbiting ring. And various tools will unfold from that ring. But he also has four stabilizer legs, like in a big truck, or like a boom crane. Sort of punk. Then he goes punk. And he begins the conversation.
Alright, we start making the list.
Excellent. So, you guys are, I don't know, by the gods, it is hot. Wow, is it hot? Is it, woof. Is it hot? Like, sheesh. Okay, so, when you get to the cantina, it's not really a cantina, it's more like it's more like an oversized nightclub, really, called Shipley's Rest. And let's see if I can. Oh yeah, I got every color.
There are many on the strip, I assume.
Yeah, plenty of them. I had another one. What is it? Another one. What the heck?
You need something to write with?
No, I'll just use the. I thought I had a block. Maybe the block. Oh yes, it is. It was hiding. Bastardo. All right. Now Shipley's Rest is basically think of a cell in division, but hasn't quite finished dividing yet. So essentially, you have. Okay, now that's Shipley's Rest, and the inside kind of looks like a bit of a stretched beam. Now these dotted lines here, they represent the fact that there are platforms, second level platforms, and the dotted lines are there because those dotted lines are balconies where you can look over, and then you can look across onto the other platform. The bar is on the ground level at the back, and behind the bar is like, you know, that endless series of rooms and warrens that shit gets stored in the employee bathroom and the lounge and whatever all else. Front door is here. Big affair. You could drive a big speeder in there actually. And to get to the platforms, there's only one way up, and that's this twin stairway that merges together at the bottom. The platforms are maybe 12 feet off the ground, maybe.
Reach up.
Get grabbed by the leg. Just like a what? Any questions?
The Wookiee just pulled that man through the bars.
What's left of him?
I actually had him set not that tall. He's not 9 feet tall. He's actually only about 7.5.
Well, there we go.
It's still taller than the
That's still taller than everybody else.
That's a basketball jump shot. That's what that is.
That's a slam dunk. That's, you know.
When you get into the place, actually he stops everybody and he says, "You go and have a look. Tell us what we're looking at." So this is how now everybody knows the description of the place because of YouTube. One of the platforms has been marked off with a red velvet rope and a little sign that says private engagement. And the rest of the place isn't necessarily packed, but it's doing a pretty good crowd for mid-afternoon on a weekday.
Find our way to the other balcony.
And there's a band. They're in case anybody's interested, they're performing. Where would they be performing? They are performing in a platform just for them above the bar, like so. And it's a big band too. They're not Biff. They're not the strange-looking dudes from the. Yeah, they're not them. But they kind of play the same kind of music. So.
Galactic Jazz.
Hey,
Do we have any requests? Somebody playing the same song again. All right, playing the same song again.
You know the Wookiee. Same song.
Jabba says the same song.
I only connect to the internet. Why can't I connect to the internet? Is anybody having trouble connecting to the internet?
Nope. It seems to be loading alright.
Supposed to be connected. Why am I not connected? Why do I have internet access? Huh. I don't think airplane mode was what I was looking for. There we go. So, eventually, now the trick is going to be, now, when you, I assume you're looking for, well, you know what the people look like, you don't. But, so I assume you're looking for, well, you don't see them on the ground level. So,
You gave the recommendation checking the second platform, so
yeah,
keep
you guys,
yourself a look over.
you guys sort of took up the second platform. They're not on the second platform. Guess where they are? They're having the private engagement. And there's a lot of them. There seems to be 3 separate sub gangs of them. One of them is led by a Trandoshan. The other 2 are led by humans. And there's that one fellow again sitting at a table. And then there's a chair on the other side of the table. So, I mean, you look at that and you're like,
That chair's for me.
That's a handoff. That's a handoff right there.
Watch my back, please. Walk down the
Yeah.
ramp, back up the other ramp.
Yeah.
I assume there's a
There's
kind of rope
there's
there
a rope,
and a
yeah.
big nasty dude.
Yeah. A bouncer, actually.
Okay.
A weak way.
I'm watching him go down the stairs and not the other one.
What's he doing? What's he doing? I just told him to look. What's he doing?
I request an audience.
Beat it.
Maybe he has an open chair for me and everything.
Turns around and looks at the guy in front of the open chair. See past him.
Walk past.
So we want to turn on the main screen. Okay. Doesn't do the job.
I did see the cursor briefly.
Was the screen still on?
It's from
Yep.
John.
I didn't see any reason to turn it off.
Fair enough.
Ah, picture.
He looks like that. Can I help you?
Ah, you seem to be the man of the hour.
Man of the hour.
Yes.
Listen, I'm a little busy. I'm meeting some people, and nothing personal, but I don't know who you are.
My name is Salem.
Well, hello, Salem. How are you?
I'm wondering. I have a proposal.
Why not? I'm listening. He puts his boots up on the table.
Now, let's speak in hypotheticals for a second. Let's say I saw some people do some very bad things to some Jawas.
Yeah, but what's bad these days?
Well, they're just Jawas, of course.
I can't find my cursor.
I don't really care about the
Said-
Jawas. It's what the Jawas
Right
had
around the
that I care
second
about.
screen near the bottom.
There it is. There it is. Okay. You were saying?
It isn't the Jawas I care about. It's what the Jawas had that I care about.
Ooh, brother, you're not the only one.
So it seems, as your mention of business entails.
Well,
It was a cute trick you hypothetically, or sorry, these people hypothetically pulled.
no idea what you're talking about, really. You know, the use of Lausanne gas has been restricted by the military and the Empire and the Republic before them for years. So certainly anybody accused and accusing of someone else of using such a nerve agent really better make sure that they have their proof, because that could get expensive in open court.
I don't care about the proof. What I do care about is how does someone acquire such a interesting substance? Because,
Let's just
no
say-
offense, you seem like a very powerful man, but you don't seem the type of person to be in close proximity to high-level Imperials that often.
Assuming I was inclined to answer your question, which I'm not, because once again I don't know you, and there's no profit in answering your question.
No,
Why would you even want to know?
like I said, I have a proposal.
Well, let's assume for a moment that I have a steady supply and that it's available upon request. What would your proposal entail?
So you're saying, hypothetically, there's a steady supply of the nerve agent.
I'm saying if there were. What would your proposal entail?
Well, the going market rate for, say, a canister of it, say at a kilogram, would be tens of thousands of credits, I would assume.
More.
Problem is it's always difficult dealing with new business partners. You have to maintain a level of trust. I say we start with a smaller transaction.
I am a man who likes to make money wherever I can. But I gotta tell you, I have a rule that says I don't do 2 big books of business in the same day. So why don't you come back tomorrow and we will transact then? Because I got a situation here and I need to see to it. And frankly, the longer you stay here, the more nervous you're making me.
Sounds like a wonderful plan. I will see you tomorrow. And he walks back down the ramp, back up the ramp. I know he doesn't even walk back up the ramp. He just sort of walks back up the bar.
Are you up top?
I'm
Or?
on the second level, just keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
I was originally looking for do the people on that side account for everyone that I saw at the
Yes.
Java
Yes,
store?
they're all over there.
All of them?
Yeah.
Okay. And doing a secondary scan while he's talking. Is
He
anyone
sort of-
else
he's-
paying attention to that area that probably shouldn't be?
He sort of eyes at you.
Basically, if they have friends in the crowd type thing.
It's tough to tell. There are people watching, but because of the way that they're so
Can't
close
get a
to
good
each
view of
other,
it.
it's difficult to see up from the bottom.
Fair.
And he walks out and talks to, walks back to the group. And
Kevin looks at you and says, "Where the hell are you, man? And where's the other one?"
he's still inside watching.
Okay, and
They're making the transaction very, very soon.
who do you think they're selling it to?
Well, considering where the nerve agent came from, I know exactly who they probably are to. Or I can make a few guesses.
You want to make a few guesses before I grow old and die?
Well, the only people who have it under strict control are the Imperials.
Oh, I don't like that. Although it does make sense.
And from
That's not what I know about how T-Cannon works. All right, what do you call the plan? It's going to be a sale. It has to be a sale. Otherwise, why do it in a public place? Unless you think you're going to get greased.
And he's got about a dozen guys from 3 different crews who are clearly there as muscle. So
Yeah,
they're
and they all
expecting
work. They all
somebody
work for
important.
him, by the way. That was clear to you when
Yeah.
you looked. They all work for him. So
They're-
he's muscle to the tits,
He's expecting someone equally as
or
more so.
or he's afraid of the Empire.
What I'm saying is we've got 2 problems. One is, well, we've got 2 situations. One is we take them down now with the known quantity of who we're dealing with and that all that entails. The problem is it's a public, like you said, it's a public place.
Did you see the check when you were up there?
No, I didn't, but
So we don't know where it is.
I confirmed with the GAND that they're the same people, and I
I
can't
know,
see.
but
There's no way they can hide it quickly.
We can't just shoot some. I can't even believe I'm saying this. We can't just shoot somebody in the face and grab the chuck if we don't know where the chuck's at to grab.
I agree with you. So
we
which
got to get
leaves
them-
us with
We've got to get them to
We
produce
wait.
the chuck.
for the transfer to happen.
Oh, that sounds like a bad idea.
And now we're dealing with Imperials.
Go back inside. Get up to 2nd level again. Take him with you.
He knows my face.
I know. That's why when I say take him with you, I mean you go in afterwards.
Okay.
Go back as far to the end of that 2nd level as you can. If you need to start shooting, I assume you can make a shot from back there as easily as anywhere else.
These guys came in on speeders.
Can you fake a very large credit account?
I tried.
That one that'll stand up to Imperial sniffing?
I tried.
Would you mind? Now, you're going to need to go to the Planetary Bank of Tatooine, go to one of their terminals, and slice one of their terminals, and hope that there's no constabulary going, I wonder what he's doing!
Very complex transaction.
Very complex. Yes.
Well, your money and my bank account.
Oh, the installation of
Exactly.
software.
Otherwise-
Do you have a common?
We all have comlinks, don't we?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, comlinks are a purchased item.
Yeah. They're expensive ones, so no, I don't have one. Unless,
Oh, I thought you guys just all went and bought one. My.
Yeah, I got one.
Okay, I got a handheld
I
common.
don't think it actually ended up on my list.
You do have a ship though.
Yeah.
You're wearing your,
one giant.
He got a
comlink.
giant-
you're wearing your comlink, yes.
apparently, no.
I'll call into you. If these guys came in on a bunch of speeders, it would be really nice if the speeders no longer worked when they try to go catch us.
All except one. We're going to
Except the one we're on.
Nah.
Can you get the firemen to see where they are and maybe able to disable them?
I don't have the technical know-how to do that.
But that's why we get to
Covert
find them.
sabotage, but
Well, I don't see them here.
Now, something I would like to say that I may have said to a few people, but I don't think I said to everybody. There is no such thing in this system as a skill you can't attempt. You want to do some surgery? No problem.
well, yes. But what my point is they should find out when they try and get on the bikes that their bikes don't work.
Okay, well, anyways, I'm pretty sure that whatever
We need
happens...
to find the bikes because I don't see them here. And
Well, you know
I'll get
exactly
on
where
that.
they are. They're parked, like, in the parking bin set for them.
So can you get the firemen to find them and let me know? Because on my way back I may take a stop and play with some
Rewrite
So
this
do I
off.
just call you
condensers.
Dan?
Yes.
I need you to point out the bikes.
Off I go.
I need you to make a... Well, you know what the skill check is to make, but I need you to make it against a difficulty 3, and I'm going to throw in 1 setback die. Just because it's right out in the open. You're basically hacking it at a... You're slicing it at an ATM.
So you said,
Why is he plugging shit into the
difficulty
ATM? I
3?
don't think that's how that works.
Difficulty 3 plus 1 setback die.
I have a net 1 success. I have 2 disadvantages.
Okay. I wonder what. Oh well. Normally 2 disadvantages is essentially you leave behind more data than you wish.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So you're probably okay. We'll yeah. It's fine.
We left a digital fingerprint.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
It works, but unfortunately I got more Imperials than I got Rebels.
There we go.
Because those are the closest equivalent to this little symbol.
It's true. So you've got the transfer rate done and done. You're out of there before there's one of those dudes with the the dudes with the yeah. They have a name. I just can't remember what they're called. But Faz, Towels. No, the Towels. Anyway, so you're out of there, and you find these speedors.
Well, it's just done.
There's a couple of bikes. There's a big like pickup truck style speeder, and there's a couple of smaller open topped passenger type speeders.
Okay, and how many is there? Is it just like a parking lot,
Yeah.
or is there like guards at the parking lot?
No. You park at your own effing risk.
All right.
Of course, if they catch you, it's piff into the garbage compactor. But it's like, are there parking lot guards at the biker bar? No.
Bikers might leave parking
but
lot
I assure you, that's the good news.
No, but so like, there's none of the crew there watching the bikes. Everybody's
Actually, you know what there is, but he's one of them silly ass weakways with his back to you at the far end of the line of bikes. So as long as you don't kick over a whole row of speeder bikes, you're doing okay.
All right. So I'm gonna go about me some sabotage.
Listen, all of y'all.
Mechanical
sabotage.
things. That's what I do, or if I can actually get into the computers.
How many? Because it's going to take a while.
I will leave the one on the far end fine, and I will work my way forward until such time as I get to the end, or we have to run.
Okay.
And yeah, so if I can get into the computers, I run them, do that, or if they're mostly mechanical, I'll just do mechanical.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go mechanical because they're mostly lock based. I am gonna. It's not that hard to get into them. Like it's a difficulty 1. So the number of successes that you get, I'll multiply that by 3 vehicles per success because there's a lot of them. So I actually my original estimation was a little low. There's more than we thought. My original estimation was caught up short by the fact that there was a lot of them.
Okay, so
Unless they're riding 6 to a speeder bike.
I have a net 3 successes
Speeder guy.
and 1 advantage.
Okay. What exactly did you do to them?
They vary. Some of them won't work at all. They're just I've disconnected something in the mechanism that wouldn't be obvious. So it's not something you go, oh look, the cable's just plugged in. Some of the more creative is that after a while, there's like a time thing, so like a part will heat up.
I would feel a lot more comfortable if you did the same thing to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, considering how I lowballed the difficulty.
So essentially, after a while, a part within the bike will overheat and fail,
Okay.
and that will cause the bikes to shut off.
Okay, there we go. And your, for your advantage, it's completely not visible. Even if they check over the bike, they won't see it. So, And so, Red, what are you doing?
Eating.
You're eating. That's right. Gotta eat, folks. Gotta eat.
First time to Tatooine. That. Give to me.
You transfer a lot of whoopooey that day, boy. All right. So he sort of looks at you. Kevin looks at you. Not sure what to do with you yet. And then the cruiser heaves into view. Well, you feel it before you hear it. Like you feel it coming up through your bones. It shakes the club. Like at first you think that it's the band, but it's not. Like there's something, and you turn around and look out the window, and there's a shadow falling over the street. And you look up, and the spear tip shape of the ILC exploit is like maneuvering right over top, but right over top. Like stand on the roof, get somebody to stand on your shoulders, they can reach up and touch the damn ship. So, well, that's unexpected. That's unexpected. Now I decided I really don't know what to do. We should go inside. Let's go inside.
So, catch up with the group.
So one by one, everybody sort of gets onto the opposite platform and sort of sits relatively close to each other, but not on the same table.
And you just see me going, oh god. Stop talking to each other.
Yeah, no, there's 7.5 foot tall Wookiee walking into the barge.
Happens all the time. There's a few people are like, they
That's
see your
what Wookiees.
they see your axe and they're like, but whatever. Like you've never encountered that before. So hell, half your opponents saw your axe and went, so he's really very big in real life, So, what ends up happening is you sort of, Kefin sort of gives you all a look that says he's not quite sure how to proceed. And then you hear like a outside so from experience they're putting up a combat air patrol around the cruiser, so it's going to be there for a little bit. and you hear the sounds of at least one landing shuttle. And it'll, you look out a window and they're landing right in the street. Like, oh yeah, that's real.
He goes on to call. Sam goes on to comms and says, "I don't know if they've negotiated yet," and puts the comm back.
Yeah, I don't know. Kevin walks over, sort of stands by your table, and says, "I don't know either." Did you succeed with the transfer?
You have one hell of a bar tab you can pull now.
Come on. Let's go. So just before anybody, presumably from the cruiser, walks into the bar, you stay put.
Back corner.
You guys head down the ramp of the second platform, up the ramp of the first platform, and the Weequay looks over and snarls at Kevin. And Kevin sort of goes, "That's not very friendly." And then he sort of Kevin inclines his head back towards you. And the Weequay looks up and looks way up and steps back. The fellow at the table looks over at you and says, "This is a really bad time. Don't say a word. This man works for me. All of these people work for me. And we're here to make a counter proposal." Okay, counter proposal. Wow. And before he can decide whether or not he wants to hear your counter proposal, a whole raft of Imperials come walking in to the, to the outfit. And at first, there's a couple of scouts that sort of step in and look around, and they incline their head in such a way that you're pretty sure they've sent an all clear signal. And then more and more of them begin to trickle in. A lot of Imperial soldiers, like basically just gray clothed soldiers, not even carrying any extra armor. And then, as if somebody opened up a floodgate, a whole bunch of them come wandering in. Well, wandering. Maybe not so much wandering. Lots of soldiers. At the head of the soldiers is a medium-built woman in an Imperial officer's uniform with the rank of Major. And her uniform is white, which is a color normally reserved for Grand Admirals. But she's flanked on either side by two senior officers. There are about a dozen scouts, and scouts are spec forces. Like they're not just guys who fly around on speeder bikes. They are also very good snipers. Luckily, however, you don't see any of them with anything more powerful than a blaster carbine, so long-range shots aren't going to be anything like what you can do. But the bad news is, unfortunately, bad news is that they are... See what I mean?
No, there's something important for you.
They're accompanied by naval commandos. Naval commandos look a bit like normal stormtroopers, but they wear less armor. They're sort of armored like scouts, but their helmets look like stormtroopers. I'll see if I can find you a good picture, because I had one, but of course, come game time.
There we go. It's a wonderful thing.
Something like that. Everybody see that?
No, it's not there.
What? Oh, okay. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this so that it's just a carbon copy of what's in it. But we'll do that later.
There we go.
Yes? You see now? Okay. So like I said, they're kind of, they look like stormtroopers, but they're armored like scouts. And they're sort of, you're not really sure what they're, I guess they're special infantry for when nobody wants to give stormtroopers to, who could tell? The Empire say they simplified everything, but don't believe it. So they show up, and when they come up the stairs, the female officer in white is not pleased. What is this? Well, I'm a businessman, Major, and you have a competing offer. I have a competing offer. Slowly takes off her black gloves, shaking her head. Competing offer. Considering how we looked the other way when certain contingencies were enacted that permitted you to more easily obtain what we were looking for, I don't think there should be any entertainment of competing offers at all. Should there, Mr. Aegon? I am a businessman. Who speaks for you lot? That'd be me. Hi, I do. We went to school together, although you probably don't remember me. I'm sorry, well, you were a freshman when I was actually getting ready to do my graduate work. I spotted you. There's not many prominent politicians' daughters, especially ones whose fathers had prominent military careers at the Republic, who get sent to the University of Alderand's archaeological program. You were fast-tracked, too. You were actually pretty good. Ah. Well, I must say I'm at a bit of a disadvantage. Oh, well, I'm Kevin Marrow. How are you? Major Tikkanen, Sansa Tikkanen, daughter of Moff Tikkanen. Moff Tikkanen. She doesn't remember you either, apparently. But you remember her, although she was... This is a private transaction, and you're complicating matters, which constitutes a direct disturbance made against the Empire. Oh. That's too bad. Because Mr. Aegon, is it Aegon? Yeah, it's Aegon. Mr. Aegon here says the thingamabobby's on the open market. What's your interest in it? Perhaps we could come to a mutual arrangement. Oh, absolutely. I'll take it, and I'll put it away, and your emperor doesn't get to play with it in his own little private yard anymore. And there's a long silence. You cannot possibly come up with the kind of money that we have promised Mr. Aegon.
Hand him my data pad.
Lobs it at her. Chief. I can simply have you arrested. I can have you shot. And then everybody's blasters come out. Everybody's blasters come out. There's a
draw
sleepy
my axe. I just snarled at her.
there's a sleepy drunk on the bottom level who was face down in his blue milk for an hour and a half. They checked his pulse 3 times to make sure he was alive. As soon as you snarled, he kicked his table out, pulled out 2 blasters, and pointed them at a pair of serving droids. You do not understand the power of a Wookiee snarl, man. Fucking, you do too. You know you do.
She just threatened us.
And far in the corner, I'm pretty sure a thumb went to a safety.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
So, in the sort of tension that's building up, I got a success and 2 advantages on a charm roll.
yes.
Excuse me, Madam there, but may I have my...
Major
Major. May I have my data pad back?
throws it at you.
Food plate down.
There is a problem, of course. If there was a shootout here, and Aegon is just sitting there with a glass of white beer. It's all just business, really. I don't know what you're all getting so terribly upset about. And everybody, and there's literally people just standing there with guns. There's a junior Imperial officer. He's got a blaster pointed at you. You can hear the sight go.
Just fold my arms.
I believe the senior officer, the one in black, an older man standing behind Ticken, who hasn't said a word up until now, leans forward and whispers something into her ear. Cost. We'll simply double the offer. Aegon looks over at you, looks over at Marrow. Marrow's just about to open up his mouth and say something when a bunch of blaster bolts come up from the stairwell that leads up to the platform, and the whole place goes bonkies. Just you're not really sure. You catch a glimpse of it's like you see them. There's a bunch of guys come in, and they look like local muscle. They really do. They look like they came from here, and they're an assorted bunch, and they're headed purposely for the stairs. And then as now you guys sort of see the blaster bolts because for many of you that's what you're conditioned to. But what some of you may hear is the Aegon, Jabba's looking for you. And Aegon's eyes blink a couple of times before the wave of blaster fire starts, and everybody starts shooting everybody, and the ballroom blitz tune plays. We're not playing.
Could.
But the band, seeing that it's going to be a grand old time, there's a guy with 2 heads behind the piano going, and every now and then they knock their heads together for accompaniment. And some strange thing who you thought was male, but no, sings like a female, grabs the microphone, sticks it in an orifice in its head, and starts to sing. So, question is, what does everybody want to do?
over a table, flip it so that I'm on the other side, and get cover.
Are you?
Jesus Christ.
Meryl calls to you. We need out here.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want this junior officer blasting me in the face. I slapped the blaster out of his hand and just...
His body goes back over like in a bow, and he wraps himself upside down around the.
Did the weakling at the top of the stairs react to the shots from below?
Oh, he reacted all right. His head fell off. That's how bad he reacted.
Whoops.
Here's a reaction.
No
for
need to
you.
hip checking down the stairs then. We're good.
Vanny comes out screaming over the comm channel.
Pickup time?
We need you.
Yeah, boss. And
Is there like windows on this level?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go out one. Shoot it out, go out one.
What's there? Kevin looks at you. Wasn't there a pickup truck out there? A pickup speeder? Like a big... Get it! Park it outside that window!
I'm just thinking for a second. I didn't disable it.
No,
Okay.
you didn't. You didn't get to it.
Was that the one? Okay, that was it.
Yes, it's still there. So, run for
All
the
right.
window, shoot the window out, jump out
Yeah,
the
start
window.
popping off people.
I
You,
Like,
window! I assume...
I
need to get to the door behind you! Because he's seen the Chuck Chuck. Because you pointed it out to him. You were like, oh, look, the Chuck Chuck. And one guy falls down dead, and as he falls, his arm hits the Chuck Chuck and just... Immediately, every
Everybody-
Jawa in the place... and there's a surprising number. You didn't think there were that many Jawas before. But they're now punching anything that moves now. Jawa into the Chuck
The
Chuck.
Chuck Chuck rolls. Combat ensues!
So
Snap.
one of the troopers comes at you, and I mean, it's such a melee, and these people are so unprepared that when you section him in half, he barely realizes what happened. And now all the other Imperial soldiers are throwing up tables and jumping behind, right? So you begin picking people off, right?
yeah.
You know, there's a brief moment where, you know, everything sort of stops, and you remember your sniper instructor in the academy. One breath for the death god, half a breath for them, because the other half of their breath is yours. Boom, boom, and then time just speeds up. Patow, 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 patow.
God, I'm making a beeline for the door and clearing everybody out of the way in the process.
I'm going right behind you.
No, Kevin is behind me.
Drop a net from my sleeve. Wait for that bobble.
What the hell? Oh, I just lost it.
I assume
Got a net to
when
check.
you call for me, it was my
Never ever let your trumpet get
character's
away.
turn to
Cursor's still
bring the
over
ship
here.
over and...
Yes. Start moving the ship towards.
Fair enough.
And this is about the time that you wish you were carrying
Move the
something.
cursor up. Oh, you have. So. Oh, we can see.
Like a couple of extras.
Oh, come on. Get
Maybe
me
a
on this
pocket
window.
destroyer, that-
There we go.
I assume this is going to be a piloting role.
Yeah, because you're going to have to come in pretty low.
Fair enough. So
And-
that's
One difficulty. It's not, I mean, you know, you're going to knock a few things over, but unless you're drunk out of your mind, you're not going to grind away 3 houses on the way over.
You take up some poor schmuck satellite dish, you know, loses his favorite
You know,
programs.
somebody loses all his
As long as
laundry.
it's not Jabba's, you're good.
I don't think we're
There's like
near the
bloomers
balance, right?
flapping off the back. Shit.
The
And there's a toy Darien attached to the bloomers going, "Hey, what you doing?"
so when I
Hey, I'm poking my head out.
The real issue you have is
so
the
when you
fighter
went
cover.
piloting thing, it's
There's a link full of TIE fighters.
green plus yellow.
Okay,
And
what's the skill that which piloting skill?
I'm on a planet, so I'm assuming.
And the fact that she has
No,
no
it's
And the fact she has
you're
weapons
flying a
control.
spaceship.
Space.
All right.
But no, it's fine. It's fine.
Hold on.
We're good.
I have green to yellow,
Okay.
and this is a floundering fish of a ship, so -2 on handling.
Yeah, that means that you add two little black dice.
Except that,
She's got a special.
You only add one
except
little
for being
black
skill
dice.
jockey, yeah, only one.
There we go. You got the-
Okay.
I want to try and get more electro swing into the game, but it all sounds exactly the same.
Okay then.
We use
I
it
appear
in
to
most
have
situations.
one circle with a star peeking out of it.
Triumph.
Yep. Star.
Yeah.
And one of the stupid shields.
You could have made this piloting check with your eyes closed. What are the stupid shields? I'm totally gonna. We have to all teach each other what these symbols are. We really do. We have to teach each other what the names of the symbols are. Not right now, it'll take time, but boy, is that ever something we have to do.
It rolled again when I set it down.
And the triumph on a piloting check, that's like
Exceptional.
butter. That's butter. So you're good. So a whole bunch of people like look up and she drops the ramp too, right? So there's there's one little Jawa. He's on a little pedal thingy, and the ramp's caught him in the other. And he eventually tumbles up the thing. You accidentally bump into a bantha. You never seen a bantha move that fast. Bantha's like, getting out of here. There's three dewbacks that watch you go by like, whatevs. So yeah, whatevs. So you're just pounding. Meanwhile, managed to make it out. Looks over, calls out to you. Where are leaving?
Did somebody actually get the chuck?
Yeah, he's got the chuck. So it's
Basically dropped the net from his sleeve, waited for a bobble, and snapped it out.
nice.
Actually, look, all the Jawas around. Houdini! point to the Imperials.
There's a bunch of
Nice couple seconds.
there's a bunch of scouts, and the scouts are like they're running. All of a sudden, Jaw to the face. One of them is like, bow, legs this way, rolls down the stairs. Meanwhile, you're like, oh yeah, getting out of here.
See ya.
So you pull up in the pickup truck just in time. Everybody jumps in the back, and you boogie.
Well, actually, in the pickup truck, that one speeder that I didn't actually sabotage, it's in the back. We're taking out a souvenir. I left the one speeder bike.
Oh, you speeder bike. Okay,
Bike,
this
yeah.
is like Luke's speeder is upside down, being balanced on its top engine in the back. We're bringing it with us. Okay, we're gonna bungee it to the roof of the ship. Oh wow. So, okay, so of course the Empire gets on. They start firing light turbo lasers into the city, but they can't hit nothing because they're
Turbo lasers.
Well, there's plenty of murder. It just doesn't really.
yeah.
accomplish
But I mean,
anything.
so the truck is headed at high speed. Most of the gangers are stuck in a fight, so they can't chase you. But you're still moving about as fast as you can possibly go. And so you're looking at the street, and you're watching this pickup truck-sized speeder come barreling at you, and the first thing you're thinking is, nope, that's not going to fit. No, that's really not going to fit. Fitting, not so much with that. And you're hoping somebody in the speeder truck knows that's not going to fit. Kevin looks back at you and says, I don't think we're going to fit.
Nope.
So, all right, we're going to have to jump for it. We're going to use the ramp as a scoop, try not to break every bone in our body. That's going to be a good plan, right? Nobody breaks their bone in their body?
So glad you're here to lead us, sir.
So what he does is, he says, Vandy, don't stop, just keep moving. Of course,
Yes, boss.
when you keep moving, you get closer and closer to the ILC exploit. And you do some quick calculations, and depending on what Dingbat wants to do, by the time you go to lift up off, you're going to need to pull a very, very, very complicated maneuver. I'll get to that in a minute. So he turns. He said, turn the speeder truck around so that the ramp, the bed faces the ramp, and we can all jump off, and then we can, I don't know about this bike. Listen, if you can drag this bike in, it's just us, okay? The bike is extra. Damn it. So, and this is how, like, I need piloting because this is complicated. Give me a difficulty of, we're having lots of fun here, so give me a difficulty of 2. And I'm actually going to spend a destiny point to upgrade one of those 2 to would you flip a destiny point from dark to light, please? Thanks.
Done. So I have 1 triumph, 1 as a proficiency, 1 disadvantage, and 1 despair. I think you would call despair dice.
You have a despair?
That's the red one.
Okay.
I haven't actually rolled yet.
Oh, you haven't rolled the dice.
4 dice.
Right. Gotcha. Go.
Okay. So I have net 2 successes.
That's it. Net 2 successes. He makes a
Everything
check.
else.
He manages to hold the pickup truck style speeder at a constant speed directly in front of the ramp so that everybody can get out, and he manages to drag a speeder bike into the ramp. Not quite snugly. He's working on getting it in, so you can worry about that when you break atmosphere. You can worry about that then. You may have to.
You're on one side of the ramp dragging it up. I reach under with the other side.
Oh yeah, drags. Well, the thing is, it's fitting it. So when you reach under the underside, you can hear something grating against something when you pull it in. Okay, now you can close the ramp, but now you have another problem. Now, the good news is, do you remember how the ILC exploit is shaped?
Sort of.
You remember that the middle part is kind of hollow?
Yeah.
Good, because you're going to have to put your ship through the hollow part. Because if you go too far past the exploit, they'll turn their aft cannons on you, where you don't have room to maneuver. And the other really bad thing is that if you don't confuse the gunners, they'll turn their tractor beams on you, and then you're not going anywhere. Because even if they only have medium tractor beams, the difficulty for you to break out of medium tractor beams if they hit you. Not saying you can't do it. I'm saying
But
why
I don't
not?
want to try.
But the good news is, since they don't know what's going on, and since the space is probably as big as it's ever going to be, considering you're basically right there, I won't ding you for any setback dice, and I'll only put a difficulty of 3 on the check.
Okay, so
Would you like to spend it?
it's
That would be a
hell
1.
yes.
So now you get to upgrade one of your
Greens to a yellow.
Greens to yellow.
greens to yellow. So now I think you're rolling all yellows. Can I have food? Please, sir, may I have some food?
You have 4 chocolate bars.
I do.
So it's 3 yellows and it's still 1 black?
No. 3 yellows and 3 purples.
So the black goes away and 3 purples, you said?
Mm-hmm.
So 3 yellows, 3 purples, anything else on board?
No, I think you're good.
Okay, so I just rolled that. And
Please show him the result.
okay.
1 triumph.
Wow.
1 triumph.
Did say I was the best pilot in the galaxy.
Well, look at the yellow die.
So the gravitic compensators basically go, what the fuck? Let go for 3 minutes, and you slide backwards for about a minute and a half. As she stands the thing on its tail, uses those 3 big fat friggin' drives on the end, kicks that upwards, throws all the thrust back there, angles the shield back there too, just to make sure, and punches it right up through the space between the center section of the ILC exploit and the outer rim. If you ever see the ship, you know what I'm talking about. I'll show it to you after the game if you want to see it. And right through, like the bridge officers watch as it.
There is 1 setback.
One setback.
Yeah. Net 1 setback.
You didn't need the ship to be able to communicate on frequencies understood by the Duros, did you?
That's something Sistine can fix later if we need it.
He'll probably need that part you left on the side of the Imperial ship. These old consular ships have way too many doodads for communicating anyway. They should go through a single Imperial transceiver and have done with it.
But the Imperial transceiver has spyware on it from the government. We can't use it. What are you talking about?
Don't do that, you stupid fucker.
I read it on a forum somewhere.
He's dead before the moderator kicked you out. So
No, I am the moderator.
kicked himself out. So you just pound right past, leave carbon marks on the outside of the hull, just straight through. Now it's time to plot a jump to hyperspace.
Uh-huh.
Now.
Well, do we have any destination in mind for taking this doodad?
Away.
Right now, away.
Alright. That going to be... You want me to do the astrogation check?
Yes.
Okay, so that's...
The stars are streaking.
What do you mean plotting a course? Just throw in the hyperdrive.
Next time, don't tell them what next place to go.
That's right. We're going to the Trandoshan homeworld. Whee!
Alright.
Yes.
What sort of difficulty you want to give me?
This goes through
Two
consoles.
No. Two, because you're like plotting a course like right now under duress, but no setback dice.
Okay, so
Would you like to use another destiny point?
Might as well. The whole pile of them.
Alright. So, currently 2 green, 1 yellow, and...
What's the matter, Craig?
I'm saying shouldn't it be 2 yellow, 1 green?
What's she saying right now? Just throw
Oh,
the red
okay.
dice one.
So that should have to roll. That's just like that makes sense.
And I spent destiny, so...
Remove green out again.
So if I'm not mistaken, then you should be left with a pool of 3 yellows
No, she's got a yellow and 2 greens.
Right.
So she'll have 2 yellows
and a
2
green.
yellows, 1 green,
and 2 purple.
and 2 purples.
And 2 purple. Sugar, sugar, sugar. For me, this hot down here.
Net 1 success, 1 disadvantage.
May not be exactly where you want to go, but it's safe.
That'll count for right now. We
The
can just
hyperdrive
note
may
this
need a little, not much. Not like, oh my god, we left it behind.
What do you mean you ejected the core? Oh, sorry, wrong universe.
As I understand it, we do have a backup hyperdrive. It's just really slow and shitty.
Yes.
I forgot.
75 years later, they emerge from hyperspace. Oh, we made it. So,
What do you
mean, the Empire's
already
fallen?
She kept this one safe.
nice.
And this one and only this one. And the Emperor killed all the Jawas, so it's useless now. Whatever. Out the airlock.
So, and now you are in jump. And all you can hear throughout the ship is people going,
Well, that was Harry. Good job, everyone.
That's a Harry.
Right, so we're getting a bonus for this, aren't we?
I'm gonna try. That's good work. That's good work.
I'm gonna go decompress somewhere.
And I take it to a storage area somewhere.
Come wandering over. So, we got the dude that we were after, right?
Yep.
It's a
Good. Interesting loot.
I don't have to pay for it.
Does that thing still fly?
We're gonna test it in here to find out.
They don't fly.
Ugh.
Well, they fly down.
Go and find a rag, turn off the
Can't go
axe,
that
and
high.
start wiping it off.
Good job, everybody. Good job. Good job. Oh boy. Oh, my hat. My poor hat. Fantastic job. All right, somebody let Doki out of his hole. I think that since you put him there, it's only right that you let him out.
Please make sure that the thingy is away.
I'll take the chuck.
And I go and I unlock the door.
Wanders over, lifts up his robe.
Do a half-hearted kick at his ass while he's doing it.
Jumps on the gonk. Does the gonk express, which is not really express anywhere. Oh, they're going to be mad at us.
And to know who
Which
we are.
ones?
Yo, I don't think this is the last we're going to see of Nile and Aegon. Now, we're definitely not going to see the last of Major Tikkanen. Kevin's eyes narrow a bit. Did you used to belong to a... Did you tell me you belonged to somebody in the Empire for a while? He's fishing. You can tell he's fishing. He doesn't know a damn thing, but he's fishing.
No.
Okay. My mistake. I get confused sometimes. Good work, everybody. Anybody hurt? Nobody's hurt, are they? Nobody shot? You didn't get shot? Did you get shot?
No.
What about you? I should shoot you. Why didn't you tell me that you went in and did a thing when I didn't tell you to do a thing?
I got the information we needed.
I didn't ask you for any information. I wanted to know who was in there. I should shoot you. You're lucky I don't shoot people.
I told you exactly who was in there and who was coming too.
There's a smugness in your current demeanor that does not make me happy.
I apologize.
I accept your
We got the job done.
I accept your apology.
Sort of come back. Got a glass in my hand. Improvise, overcome, adapt.
You're not carrying the bottle, are you?
No, it's the glass.
All right then. So he didn't take the chuck too far away. He watches and makes sure Doki's gone. He looks at the chuck because he's got to take a hollow cab of it. He's not going to do. He doesn't do that in his quarters. His quarters are. He doesn't do business in his quarters. His quarters are his quarters. Keep an eye out for the wee fella. So he puts his hat on beside him.
Well, as far as the wee fellow is concerned, he doesn't know if we succeeded or failed.
Well, he will if he walks in. He's going to be taking a picture of the thing.
The comma. Hey, so can you get Doki to do something?
I can. The question is, can I get him to do something in one place? I will try.
Much obliged.
And so he's looking at it. And, oh, yes. Oh, that's very interesting. He takes out glasses. Spectacles. Actual spectacles. He puts them on his face. And he looks it over. He's got the way to fuck down here. Oh, well, that's really quite something. Oh, there seems to be some sort of superfluous ring on the bottom here. Tick, 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 tick. Ka-chank! 4 flanges pop open. And they're not like... they're sort of cut so that they will fit together, but they're not cut in straight lines. And when they pop open... It turns a little, and there's a couple of very light musical tones, almost like a flute. And then the Chuck's eyes light up, and a pair of light beams project out onto the wall, and you can see in 2 dimensions. You can see what looks like something viewed from a very low angle, perhaps a Jawa's view, and sort of bouncing around at really high speed, like bouncing around through canyons and little this and little that, and over, under, past, through. And all of a sudden there's a rock, but the rock has been carved to a shortened cylinder, like a hockey puck stood up on its round part. And there you see the view shows you that there are other Jawas that have just pushed the rock in place, and they're dancing and they're enjoying themselves because they've done a thing. And Jawa artisans are chiseling great symbols into 2 sets, so 4 in total, huge rocky pillars that go from the top of the section of the cave area that the rolling rock sits in front of, to the very cave floor, almost like a tomb or a sepulcher of some kind. And then all of a sudden, zoom, goes dark, and the flanges close up, and then it goes tick, 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 tick.
Buried treasure.
I mean, we're going to have to go back to that dry, dusty ball of rock.
I'll entertain pros and cons.
That's what the Emperor was looking for, whatever's in that hole.
It's a really big con that there are people back there who are likely very pissed off at us.
But they don't know that we're back on planet. They think we've escaped permanently.
If Aegon finds out where we went, he's going to be on the phone immediately, or on communication immediately, to whatever Imperial he can lay, or he can find the ears for.
Sure, but he thinks we're gone too, doesn't he?
I realize, but he's the person we have to worry about.
And
Him and his gangs.
who's to say the Imperials haven't already dragged his ass in?
That's a good point.
But you're right. No one's going to look for us on Tatooine anymore.
Which means if we go in quiet, don't make a lot of noise, try to find exactly where this place is, pop as close to it as we possibly can, make sure our transceiver is turned off. Our transponder, excuse me. I don't think we want to turn the transceiver off. Actually, I think he left the transceiver stuck to the Imperial ship. I don't judge. We got us out of there.
There wasn't a whole lot of room to do anything.
What do you think? Yeah.
It's a people's secret known only to those who've opened it.
True.
Perhaps it should be theirs to keep.
It should be. But the Empire, if they find out about it, they will go and get it. Assuming they don't know already.
How much effort do you think it took, or how much luck was involved in your discovery?
You mean in me happening to turn a portion of it? You mean do I think I could hand it over to them and they might have it for 1,000 years and never discover what it does?
That's my point.
Who here wants to take the chance?
Well, my point is while it was not in our possession, does anyone else know, except for maybe some Jawas, what it does and what information is contained in it?
Would it be something that, say, the leader of a gang of thugs would actually give a damn about it and have tried to actually activate it?
You're an archaeologist. Can you tell if it's been opened recently?
That's a good point. No, it hasn't been touched.
The gangs
Then at
didn't
least
have
that
it.
one does not know.
So as far as we know,
That's true too. That's true too. You said they grabbed it and ran, right? They couldn't possibly have been fiddling with it. They weren't touching it when you were talking to them, were they?
They probably just wanted to sell it, get their payday, and leave.
How much you want to bet Aegon knew Jabba was looking for?
also there?
That was his backup plan.
I don't know. I think he probably thought he was going to get more reliably paid by the Imperials than a private dealer. But he got stupid when we showed him a lot more money. What
And
he
the
should
timing
have
was off.
what he should have done was met the Imperials at the door, throw the thing at the Major, and then grab the money and leave. But it was our offer that had him stay there just long enough for Jabba's people to open fire.
One thing is for sure. The Major is not going to stop even without the artifact.
She's talented. She was top of her class.
Well,
And they have the resources to find this cave, even if they don't have the Chuk-Chuk.
They do, but if we find it first, and they find it empty,
well, there's also another bonus too. Turn the little thing on the bottom. You get an exact copy duplicate of how to get there. So we'll know the exact terrain.
We'll find it faster.
we will find it faster.
So in other words, yes, I am plotting us back to the ball of rock.
I think we can wait a day and relax. I think we should probably go over the ship with a fine-tooth comb, and because we don't know how tough this ship is. You put it through some paces. We don't know whether she's able to handle that. So I'll have Sassoon and Doki check over the ship, particularly the engines, see if there was any extent damage done. Everybody rest. In that time, if you can come up with a reason, or a particularly good reason why we shouldn't go and investigate this secondary place, that particular day would be the time to do it. And other than that,
Well, I can make a computer model of a pathway that the Chuk-Chuk shows.
good.
That
Good.
way, we can do scans of the planet and see if there's something similar.
I think we should probably bring it with us when we go into the tomb. I have a funny feeling that its usefulness to us isn't completely finished simply because it showed us the way. Nobody asked you what you thought yet. It's about time.
I say go for it.
And then a rather sour voice pipes up from one end of the area that you guys are sitting in. So let me see if I've got this straight. We get hired to do a specific job at a specific rate. And we decide after having successfully done that job and not managing to get ourselves hurt in odds that through inference can be considered overwhelming, even though we've managed to anger both the Empire and a bounty hunter's crew, we're going to go back, do a little bit extra, which presumably we're not going to get paid for, on what? Scholastic curiosity?
Sure.
Do you see the innate usefulness of the Chuk-Chuk?
I don't care about the innate usefulness of the Chuk-Chuk. We were contracted to do a specific job. How do we even know that the people that we're turning the Chuk-Chuk over to want this second artifact? How do we even know they're ready to accommodate it? We haven't spoken to them. We haven't discussed anything with them at all. We could turn this second artifact over to them and they may not be able to handle it. They may not be able to store it. How big is the second artifact? What does it do? We don't know. Neither do they. What happens if they refuse to take it off our hands? What happens if they ask us for more time to store it? What happens if we're stuck with the thing? Are we going to be able to dump it on the open market? No, of course not, because our captain doesn't want that done. He has an academic purity. I can respect that. But does that mean we're going to keep it in the back in a boot?
Sure.
Put it back.
Put it back. That's interesting.
Figure out what it is, what it does,
On the fly, of course.
to the best of our knowledge, at least.
And I suppose when you get there, you're going to want on-site medical assistance, aren't you? Of course you are. What have I gotten myself into?
She That's not the point that if we do extra work, we should get paid for it.
I have it on good authority that there will be a proper and correct fee paid for every artifact that's delivered. Now, we may have to negotiate separately for that artifact, but that's a negotiation within an administration, not a marketing transaction. You have to understand that there is money at our disposal, but there's only so much money at our disposal. And in order to keep us from spending it all to the point where we can no longer continue to do what we need to do, there are certain mechanisms that are involved in its having been parceled out. One of the things is that we basically have to go begging for everything we need except for your basic salaries. Now, the doctor is correct. There is a ship we have to rendezvous with. It has a time to rendezvous with us. It has a set time. We have no way to communicate with this ship. We don't even know what the name of the ship is. But it's going to drop out of hyperspace right beside us when the time comes. And we will hand the artifact off to them. They will give us whatever we have coming to us. They will go their separate ways. We will go ours. This is done for their safety and for our safety, because the less both of us know, the better. I don't think I need to tell you about that. But
So can we actually afford to turn around and grab this extra thing?
look, I don't know about it, Ford. I understand you're here for money. I understand. If I have to pay you a bounty to get this second artifact out of my own pocket, that's what I'll do. But the whole idea here, I don't have much, but I got some pocket money. Maybe a little engraved image of a droid. I like to carve sometimes. I'm serious. If I have to find a way to pay this, I will. But we are here to keep the Emperor from getting his hands on artifacts that will give him an undue influence beyond what he already has. That's our mission.
I'm not saying no, I'm just setting up the parameters of what we're doing.
You asked a question, that's the answer.
Right.
The answer may be different 2 weeks, 6 months, a year down the road, depending on our circumstances.
The way I see it, we have to.
Because we can't succeed if we have too many really hard, really rigid rules. We just can't. We're never going to know what to expect. We need to
The
operate.
short answer is we're going back, then that's what we're doing.
I believe in this case, both the short answer and the long answer that we're speaking about.
I think we got two options here. We go back now, which means the Imperials will be behind us.
But how far behind us?
I don't know, but they'll probably be behind us, and that will give us time to understand what the artifact is and how we can deal with it. Or we can go back, drop the artifact off. We already have the information, so we don't need it anymore, I don't think.
I don't know about that. He picks up the chuck again and he turns the rings again. And of course, that causes the light show through the eyes. It's projected on the ceiling, whatever. But when the flange is open, you see the flanges they're not just straight edged. They're sort of wavy and.
Like they're meant to fit to something.
I think so. I think this thing may be a key, as well as a guide.
Or we can bring it back, show it to them, and explain the situation to them and say, hey, we need to keep it for a little while longer.
That could take too much time and they might say no.
And the other problem is that I find is that I will give the Imperials a lot of time to find the place we're talking about.
We should come up with a contingency plan in case an artifact appears that we can't properly dispose of and we can't leave in place. But I'm not so sure that now is the time to make that decision.
Well, I know one contingency plan, and it usually involves demolitions.
That's true. Another one involves throwing it out an airlock. But that's for another time. All right. We're going to take a day. We're going to take a day, and we're going to consider it. We're going to rest up. This time tomorrow, we'll decide once and for all. I'm not going to override anybody because the job was to get the check and we got it. And if people don't want to go beyond the parameters of that job, that's their right. But I want to see what everybody has to say. So we'll decide.
Anything that hurts the Empire is fine by me. Get up. Start wandering towards my quarters.
It's just time for math.
I agree with him, though.
Well, we're going to give it a day in any case. All right, well, it's almost 5 o'clock, and I think we had a good run for today, and it's some powerful hot, and there's a bunch of technical issues I'd like to work out before I keep going anyway. But I think we did well enough.